Hi everyone, please subscribe to my channel. Blood Immortal Venerable. See playlist for other chapters and novels. Join now our Telegram channel now and enjoy exclusive early access. t.me/blood_immortal_official. I do not translate the novels. Credits goes to original translator and author of the novel. I only make it as an audiobook so it would be easier to just listen while doing other things. Credits goes to the author of the novel. I convert stories to audiobook for mental health, for multitasking purpose, for accessibility and time saving. Listening to audiobook is also beneficial for people who have disability. It improves our listening skills and improve our English comprehension, vocabulary and other things. So, thank you for listening. Thank you and thank you very much for your support. Chapter 121, Beastly Body, Entering the Beast Realm. Yun Mengli, Qing Wang, Shui Wang and others led the majority of the King class experts, along with a portion of array mages, to leave the area. What remained were a minority of King class individuals and array mages. After all, the spatial rift did not require that many people to guard it. Moreover, a top-tier array had already been set up, ensuring that there would be no significant issues. 2 months. That was the time Yi Tian had applied to guard the area. In a few months, the top-tier array would be completely stabilized, and the spatial rift would be suppressed to a point where it couldn't expand any further. At that time, only 1 or 2 King-class experts would be needed for its protection, negating the need for a large number of guards. By then, even if Yi Tian wanted to guard the area, he probably wouldn't get the chance. At the moment, high-level beasts as well as mid to low-level beasts were still sporadically emerging from the spatial rift. The King-class experts were not in a rush to hunt these beasts down. If they did, when would they find time for their own cultivation? Only when the number of beasts reached a certain level would they harvest and clean up the area, getting rid of all the beasts. This was a cyclical process. Completely preventing the beasts from coming over was unrealistic. After all, the spatial rift was still there. Beasts would inevitably come through, and people had to be stationed to guard and clear out the area, until the day humanity could launch a counter-offensive. Yi Tian built a house 1,000 meters away from the spatial rift. Although he appeared to be cultivating, his talent-copying ability was actually encompassing the beasts, observing their talents. He had a plan. High-tier soul transfer talent. He wanted to use this talent to control a high-level beast, and then enter the part of the world connected by the spatial rift to see what it was like there. He was incredibly curious about it. First, integrate the high-tier blade skill talent. With that thought, Yi Tian began the integration. Soon enough, the integration was complete. Blade skill talent. Top tier. Finally, I've upgraded my blade skill talent to top tier. Once I leave, I can actively look for a silver level blade technique. With my current mastery in blade skill talent, I can quickly comprehend the essence of the blade to a higher level and fully cultivate a silver level blade technique, which would significantly increase my combat power, Yi Tian said, filled with anticipation. Then, he began to cultivate his purple blood body refining technique, all while keeping an eye on the high-level beasts. He wanted to find a high-level beast with a high bloodline talent, preferably at the peak of high-level beasts. If he could occupy such a body, he could rapidly advance to a top-tier beast with the help of its bloodline talent. With his current talents, that beast's body would become a powerful top-tier beast, allowing him to venture into many more places. Otherwise, occupying a weak body would limit him to the high-level beast tier, and he'd only be able to stay in one area, not daring to venture elsewhere. 3 days passed quickly. Suddenly, a high-level beast appeared within the range of Yi Tian's talent-copying ability. Species: T-Online TL Note. Some sort of Sky Qilin. Bloodline talent: Extraordinary. Defensive talent: High tier. Strength talent: Elementary. This T-Online has decent talents. It's the one, Yi Tian exclaimed with joy. However, before executing his soul transfer talent, he first notified the other King-class experts that he would be in seclusion for a month and would emerge after that. The others had no objections, as there was nothing much happening here, and cleaning up the beasts was an extremely simple task. Yi Tian's absence wouldn't make a difference. Before implementing his plan, Yi Tian called Xiao Shui over. Xiao Shui, I'm going to use a talent to transfer my soul into another beast's body to investigate the other side of the spatial rift. Guard my body, don't let anyone come near it, understand? Yi Tian gave his instructions solemnly, repeating them several times. Master, Xiao Shui will definitely guard your body well. Xiao Shui promised. Xiao Shui, I'm counting on you for my body, Yi Tian patted Xiao Shui's head and whispered. Although Xiao Shui could sometimes be mischievous and liked to take small advantages, it never slacked off on important matters. With that, Yi Tian was completely reassured. Soul transfer talent. Yi Tian activated the talent. Buzz. Yi Tian's soul turned into a ray of light, breaking through the void, and instantly arrived at the Tian line. The next moment, Yi Tian's soul entered the soul sea of the Tian line. Who is it? The Tian line roared, sensing that someone had entered its soul. Die. With a single slash of his soul sword, Yi Tian completely obliterated the Tian line beast's soul in just one hit. Usurping the nest, Yi Tian successfully executed his soul transfer talent and gradually took control of this new body. Suddenly, the eyes of the Tian line beast opened once more, a newfound glint of wisdom flashing within them. The Tian line beast Yi Tian was born. It feels a bit odd. Yi Tian maneuvered the body of the Tian line beast, making a series of peculiar movements. 10 minutes later, Yi Tian had essentially become capable of using this body for combat. freewebnovel.com. We must leave quickly. Yi Tian dared not waste any time. He was unaware of when the next cleanup operation by these king-level beasts would be. If they acted quickly and he remained here, wouldn't he be killed by these king-level beasts? Currently, he was only at the level of a high-tier ferocious beast, vastly inferior to king-level ones. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Yi Tian controlled the Tian line beast's body and rapidly dashed toward the space rift. Within a few breaths, he entered the space rift. Spatial transfer. Yi Tian felt the world shift around him, and the next moment, he found himself in an unfamiliar place. Boom! A tremendous pressure descended, making Yi Tian struggle for a moment. The gravity here is heavy, likely about 10 times that of Earth. Yi Tian estimated after adjusting. At this moment, he looked around and noticed he was in a forest. From time to time, ferocious beasts jumped into the space rift above with great curiosity. Let's move. Yi Tian distanced himself from the space rift. He was fully aware that even if the king-level beasts were no longer entering Earth, they would still be watching this rift. Especially the owner of those golden eyes, who might be monitoring the space rift at all times. So, Yi Tian did not want to linger near the rift. He didn't know how far he had run before he finally stopped. I need to aim for the peak-level ferocious beast rank. Yi Tian made up his mind. But before making the leap, he instinctively checked his talent status. Whoa, his talent status appeared on his retina. Evidently, his copy talent could also be applied to this body, a good piece of news. Human. Yi Tian. Bloodline talent. Extraordinary. Speed talent. High level. Swordsmanship talent. High level. Strength talent. Top level. Defense talent. Top level. ... A series of talents were noticeably present in this beastly body, but Yi Tian noticed a significant issue. All my talents have been downgraded. Yi Tian frowned. Just as indicated in the soul transfer talent's soul imprint, using the soul transfer talent wouldn't perfectly transfer his original talents, they would be downgraded. This was a normal phenomenon. Once he returned to his original body, his talents would revert back to their original levels. Never mind, top-level strength is sufficient. As for the swordsmanship talent, I can use these claws as swords. Although the effect won't be as good, it's still enough to dramatically boost my combat power. Yi Tian comforted himself with these thoughts. For announcements or to report mistakes, please join my Discord, web links. There will be advanced chapters posted there for free. Chapter 122, The Mighty T-Online Beast Clan. Chapter 122, The Mighty T-Online Beast Clan. Up ahead, a high-tier beast roamed aimlessly. Yi Tian dashed toward it and, with a swipe of his claw, killed the high-tier beast. He then activated his blood-sucking talent, consumed the beast's blood, and absorbed the power within the blood to rapidly enhance his own strength. Alas, it's a shame that the purple blood body refining technique cannot be applied to these beasts, otherwise, I could have advanced to the top-level beast tier even faster. Yi Tian lamented. He continued his search for more beasts to slay. At first, Yi Tian didn't aim for particularly strong beasts, his targets were mainly high-tier level beasts and some weaker top-level beasts. After a frenetic hunting spree spanning 3 days, Yi Tian finally ascended to the top-level beast tier, significantly increasing his strength. Let's fly up and have a look. Taking control of the beast's body, Yi Tian used his flying talent and soared into the sky. However, the higher he flew, the greater the resistance became, revealing how strange this beast world truly was. After reaching approximately 3,000 meters in altitude, Yi Tian looked down below and into the distance. It was endless, he couldn't grasp the full extent of this beast world. He had to admit, this beast world was immensely powerful. Top-level beasts were everywhere, and king beasts were not rare. He could hear their roars from time to time. Moreover, the resources in this world were extremely abundant. In just a few days, Yi Tian had already discovered numerous medicinal herbs that were thousands of years old, scattered around as if no one wanted them. Furthermore, the concentration of the world's vital energy was incredibly dense, at least 3 times that of Earth's. The beast world must have existed for a long time, Yi Tian speculated. With such rich vital energy, it's not surprising that so many thousand-year-old medicinal herbs have been born. However, the beasts don't seem to value these herbs, probably because they don't use them efficiently. If humans could conquer this beast world, the available resources would be virtually unlimited. Unfortunately, the beast world was too strong, and Yi Tian had only scratched the surface of what it had to offer. He had 2 primary objectives for coming to the beast world: to see what it was like, and to look for useful talents. Yi Tian could stay in the beast world for a month, and it wouldn't take him that long to replicate a talent. If he could find a truly extraordinary talent, he could certainly replicate it. This place was the stronghold of the beasts, it would be easier to encounter remarkable talents here. All he needed was to search patiently. After several more days, Yi Tian was searching for beast talents when he suddenly encountered another T-online beast. This one was far stronger than Yi Tian. It was, in fact, a king-level T-online beast. Among the beasts, different clans would often fight each other, but within the same clan, conflicts were rare, and they were generally more united than humans. Upon discovering the king-level T-online beast, Yi Tian didn't avoid it, instead, he moved closer. He wanted to make contact with this king-level T-online beast, as doing so might provide him access to the upper echelons of the beast world. Soon enough, Yi Tian and the king-level T-online beast met face to face. #%@%n. The king-level T-online beast spoke a series of vibrations, not a real language, but rather a form of wave-like communication. Yet, Yi Tian understood the meaning behind these waves. "Who are you, young one? The sacred beast mountain is about to open, and you're still wandering outside." That was the message from the king-level T-online beast. Sacred beast mountain. Yi Tian was somewhat curious. He emitted a series of waves by instinct, expressing the thoughts in his mind: "I got lost." That was Yi Tian's intended message, and, to his relief, the other beast seemed to understand. Having reached the top-level beast tier and still getting lost. Poor child, you must have had some issues at birth. "Come with me, I'll take you to Sacred Beast Mountain," said the king-level T-online beast, looking at Yi Tian with a compassionate gaze. Yi Tian responded. Immediately after, he honestly followed the king-tier T-online beast and left. From the conversation just now, he had discovered that the king-tier T-online beast possessed considerable wisdom, second only to humans. Clearly, within the realm of mystical beasts, the T-online were considered a rather noble race, more so than most other creatures. After running for a bit, the king-tier T-online beast found Yi Tian's speed too slow and picked him up in its mouth, running at an incredibly fast pace. It must be said that the king-tier T-online beast was indeed extremely fast. It soared swiftly through the sky, so much so that even Yi Tian's own speed paled in comparison. Because this king-tier T-online beast was incredibly powerful, it undoubtedly held a high standing within the realm of mystical beasts, also possessing medium-level speed talents. However, even with such immense speed, it took a full 5 hours to reach their destination. "Holy Beast Mountain is so far away," Yi Tian exclaimed. If he were to fly at his current speed, it would likely take half a month to get there. "What is that?" Yi Tian's gaze fixed on an incredibly massive mountain that soared into the clouds. It was estimated to be 100,000 meters tall, and its majestic presence seemed to suppress the very air itself, making Yi Tian, who was miles away, feel short of breath. "Little guy, Holy Beast Mountain doesn't allow king tier and above mystical beasts to enter, so I won't go in. You go in by yourself." The king tier mystical beast tossed Yi Tian into Holy Beast Mountain and flew away. freewebnovel.com. "This king tier mystical beast is too rude, it just threw me in like that." Yi Tian climbed out of a large pit in the ground, expressing his dissatisfaction. However, he had no intention of quibbling with a mystical beast over this. As he walked into Holy Beast Mountain, Yi Tian saw numerous T-online beasts, all of which were either top-tier or high-tier mystical beasts. Their numbers were plentiful. From this, it was clear that the T-online race was a significant group within the mystical beast world. Extraordinary tier, extraordinary tier, extraordinary tier. Yi Tian employed his talent detection abilities within a radius of a kilometer. All he found were extraordinary tier bloodline talents. This is horrifying. If this were the human world, it would mean an entire large family was full of individuals with extraordinary tier cultivation talents. How terrifying. No wonder humans have always been at a disadvantage when contending with mystical beasts. The advantage mystical beasts have in talents is too great. However, the potential of humans is also terrifying. It's just that they have risen for a shorter period. Once humans grow to their full potential, the talents of future generations will only increase. Someday they will surpass the mystical beast clan. Yi Tian was very confident in humans, and in himself as well. T-online beasts were flocking toward the peak of Holy Beast Mountain. Not knowing what was happening, Yi Tian also followed them upward. For some reason, flying was not allowed on Holy Beast Mountain. Even when Yi Tian tried to use his flying talents, he couldn't. The gravity was too strong, and his speed was reduced to an extreme low. It took him half an hour just to reach halfway up the mountain. At this point, Yi Tian encountered even more T-online beasts. Suddenly, Yi Tian sensed a T-online beast with an extremely high talent. Species: T-online beast. Bloodline talent: Morning Star. Defensive talent: Medium. Although this T-online beast only had one special talent, defensive talent, its bloodline talent was so high that it reached the Morning Star tier, making it an entity that could definitely ascend to King tier status. Such talent within the T-online clan could be considered a prodigy. However, in comparison, the mystical beast body he now possessed was only average. Of course, since he had occupied this mystical beast body and possessed more than a dozen powerful talents, he was more than capable of crushing this genius with Morning Star level bloodline talent. For announcements or to report mistakes, please join my Discord, web links. There will be advanced chapters posted there for free. Chapter 123. Comprehending the Enlightenment Steel, Creating New Techniques. On top of the Sacred Beast Mountain, Yi Tian walked slowly. The pressure here had reached 100 times that of Earth's gravity, a limit that only a great martial artist could endure. Although Yi Tian's current beastly body was that of a top-tier fierce beast capable of withstanding 100 times the gravitational force, his walking speed was incredibly slow. Still, he was faring much better than some of the high-level fierce beasts like the T-online beasts, which were merely inching along. What they were doing could barely be called walking, it was more like crawling. Even so, they all yearned to reach the peak of Sacred Beast Mountain. What exactly is at the top of the mountain? Yi Tian was immensely curious. His spatial perception was unable to extend to the mountain's summit, as if a mysterious power was obstructing his senses, preventing him from ascertaining the situation at the peak. Half an hour later, Yi Tian finally arrived at the summit. There, he saw a massive stele that seemed as if it had existed since the dawn of time, emanating an ancient and powerful aura. The stele stood 100 meters tall and was 20 meters wide. Intricate patterns covered its surface, patterns that weren't arrays but still contained profound mystical truths. Before investigating the stele, Yi Tian used his talent copying ability to examine the abilities of the surrounding T-online beasts. To his surprise, he discovered 4 Morning Star level bloodline talents. Although taken aback, he quickly dismissed his surprise, considering the overall strength of the T-online beast race. If he were to copy a Morning Star level bloodline talent, his current beastly body would gain that talent. Unfortunately, this body could only last a month, and after that, his soul would return to his original body. Therefore, he wouldn't waste the opportunity to copy such a talent. Instead, he continued scanning the abilities of the other T-online beasts, focusing on any special talents they might have. Among the hundreds of thousands of T-online beasts gathered on the mountain summit, he refused to believe he couldn't find a talent that was more impressive. As Yi Tian wandered around, a particular talent suddenly caught his eye: Substitute Death Talent, mid-tier. This talent is quite interesting. Yi Tian was genuinely intrigued. While it was only a medium-level talent, some special talents had significant utility. In some cases, their utility surpassed even top-level talents. For instance, Yi Tian considered a high-level soul transfer talent much more useful than a wind blade talent. The utility of a talent mattered just as much as its power level. Substitute Death Talent should be a life-saving type of talent. Judging by the name, it should help one survive a lethal situation by dying once. Yi Tian speculated. While he couldn't copy this talent for the time being, he could at least mark it. Using his spatial talent marking ability, he marked the T-online beast possessing the Substitute Death Talent. As more T-online beasts continued to arrive on the summit, they began chatting in pairs or small groups. Since Yi Tian was currently in the form of a T-online beast, he could understand their conversations. Soon, he learned what Sacred Beast Mountain was all about. Sacred Beast Mountain was a holy mountain to the T-online beasts and lay within their territory. Other fierce beasts seldom ventured here, and if any were found, they would be killed without mercy. The most precious object on this mountain was the steel, known as the Enlightenment Steel, a treasure formed naturally by the heavens and the earth. It had remained here because it was intrinsically connected to Sacred Beast Mountain and was difficult to move. Consequently, the T-online beasts had claimed the mountain as their holy ground, largely because of this Enlightenment Steel. The steel had many utilities, and Yi Tian gleaned several of them from the conversations among the T-online beasts. The first benefit was the ability to enhance intelligence. Once the Enlightenment Steel was truly activated, those in its vicinity would gradually be influenced by it, leading to a slow increase in intelligence. This was also one of the main reasons for the high intelligence of the T-online beast clan. The second benefit was the potential for the mutation of special talents, such as transforming a basic speed talent into an intermediate one. However, the probability of success was low, and only a few T-online beasts could accomplish it. Those that could were considered geniuses. The third benefit was the aid it provided to T-online beasts with battle magic talents in comprehending fierce beast battle techniques. Once such a technique was understood, one's power would surge manifold. However, fierce beasts with battle magic talents were exceedingly rare. Battle magic. Yi Tian surveyed the area and found that indeed a few T-online beasts had battle magic talents. Initially unsure what this talent entailed, he started to speculate after hearing discussions among the other T-online beasts. Could battle magic be similar to human spellcasting and swordsmanship talents? Does this mean the Enlightenment Steel can help me understand spellcasting techniques? Yi Tian was astonished. This was staggering. It wasn't just about understanding an existing technique, but about creating one. Could it be that things like spellcasting and sword techniques are comprehended this way? Yi Tian looked at the Enlightenment Steel, a thought emerging in his mind. Perhaps, or more likely, this was a significant opportunity. Yi Tian was exceedingly excited in his heart. Regrettably, the Enlightenment Steel was still inactive. It had been sealed by the higher-ups of the T-online beast clan and would only be activated at specific times. It would open once every 10 years, and each period of comprehension would last for about a month. A humming sound resonated. A mysterious wave spread as the Enlightenment Steel began to emit an ancient aura. The patterns on its surface gradually lit up. Boom! The entire mountaintop was instantly covered in light. All T-online beasts found themselves in a peculiar realm. In this realm, there was no Sacred Beast Mountain, no sun or moon, no grass or trees, and not even other T-online beasts. It was as if they were alone in the universe. The Enlightenment Space. The thought crossed Yi Tian's mind. Start comprehending, no time to waste. Yi Tian hastily took out a high-tier magical stone, released his magical intent, and began attempting to comprehend spellcasting techniques. A mysterious aura enveloped Yi Tian, as if his comprehension had been heightened manifold. All his feelings about spellcasting were amplified many times. The intricacies of techniques like Qingfeng Slash and Shadow Kill slowly flowed through the bottom of Yi Tian's heart. His understanding of spellcasting techniques soared at an unbelievable pace. There are so many flaws in Qingfeng Slash. Yi Tian suddenly realized. Before, he had thought that Qingfeng Slash was nearly perfect, but now he saw it was full of errors. Modify. Recreate. Yi Tian gradually altered Qingfeng Slash until it was unrecognizable, even integrating some quick movement concepts from Shadow Kill. One day passed, then two. In the blink of an eye, Yi Tian had been comprehending for several days. On this day, Yi Tian burst into wild laughter. However, in his beast form, he couldn't make human laughter but instead emitted an excited, strange cry unique to T-Online B. He had finally created a spellcasting technique. --. For announcements or to report mistakes, please join my Discord, web links. There will be advanced chapters posted there for free. Chapter 124. The Defense Secret, Understood. Silver Tier Blade Technique. Yi Tian was incredibly excited. The Silver Tier Blade technique he had so desperately yearned for turned out to be of his own creation. If anyone were told that a Grandmaster had created a Silver Tier Blade technique, no one would believe it. Of course, this achievement was not solely due to the Enlightenment Steel. Yi Tian's top-tier talent in blade techniques also played a significant role. Without that elite talent in blade techniques, even if he had the talent for enlightenment, he wouldn't have been able to create a silver tier blade technique. In fact, even with average talent, creating a bronze tier blade technique would be highly unlikely. It took exceptional talent combined with the extraordinary enlightenment steel to create this silver tier blade technique. I have a feeling that given enough time, I could even create a gold tier blade technique. A month is far from enough, even a year might not suffice. Yi Tian speculated. Therefore, he abandoned the idea of developing a gold tier blade technique. For this self-created silver tier blade technique, Yi Tian chose a name, Heavenly Extreme Slash. According to Yi Tian's calculations, the Heavenly Extreme Slash was a perfect fit for him and would boost his strength far more than it would for others. The entry-level Heavenly Extreme Slash could amplify the attack by 8 times, the intermediate level by 9 times, the advanced level by 10 times, and the perfected level by 12 times. Typically, a silver tier attack type blade technique would offer an amplification of around 11 times at most. However, it wasn't just the 12-fold amplification of attack power that made Heavenly Extreme Slash formidable. It could also double one's speed when mastered to the perfect level. If word got out about such a silver tier blade technique, it would certainly incite fierce competition among those with blade talents, even to the point of life and death struggles. Mastering blade techniques isn't the real purpose of the Enlightenment Steel. The real benefit lies in improving one's comprehension. It's because my comprehension has improved that I've been able to create a silver tier blade technique. As for the so-called increase in intelligence, that's merely the residual effects of the Enlightenment Steel. How ridiculous it is for these heavenly Kirin beasts to consider this a benefit. I can't waste the remaining 20 or so days, I should focus on comprehending blade intent, Yi Tian thought. Yi Tian believed that only by using blade techniques effectively could the true purpose of the Enlightenment Steel be realized. His current understanding of blade intent was only 21%, but with the help of the Enlightenment Steel, he could definitely improve quickly. Comprehending, countless complex mysteries of blade intent flickered through Yi Tian's mind as he started to absorb the essence of blade intent. Gradually, his understanding of blade intent soared. 21%, 22%, 23%, 24%, 25%, his understanding was improving every moment. This rate of improvement was unachievable in the outside world. A day of hard practice here was equivalent to a month or even 2 in the outside world. Given his top-tier blade talent, the rate of improvement was simply staggering. 10 days had passed. 60% blade intent. Yi Tian opened his eyes, filled with excitement. Achieving 60% blade intent meant that he could master a silver tier blade technique to its perfected state. If he were to improve further, reaching 70% blade intent, he would qualify to practice gold tier blade techniques. The higher the blade intent, the harder it is to improve. Yi Tian calculated that with the remaining days, he could not bring his blade intent to 70%, and even if he did, mastering a gold tier blade technique would be out of the question. Thus, Yi Tian was in no hurry to continue comprehending blade intent. Maybe I can try improving my special talents, Yi Tian considered. Other T-Online beasts could improve their unique talents, and naturally, so could he. Although the probability was low, what if he really could make that improvement? Wouldn't that be a great gain? Yi Tian chose to comprehend defensive talents. Deep within his soul, Yi Tian activated his innate talent for defense, combining it with his enlightenment talent. His talent mark was a pseudo-mystery level, yet when manifested in this ferocious beast's body, it was merely top tier. However, this didn't mean that his talent mark had also been downgraded. So, Yi Tian was comprehending a pseudo-mystery level defensive talent. Influenced by the aura of the Enlightenment Steel, he remained motionless, as calm as an ancient bell, with an increasingly mysterious aura enveloping. 3 days passed, and suddenly Yi Tian felt as though he had gained some insight. Why is it pseudo? Because I haven't yet grasped the true mystery. A top-tier talent is the limit of a talent. The so-called mystery talents are actually just top-tier talents, combined with the mystery to form a stronger talent. And only those with top-tier talents have the qualification to comprehend mysteries. Top-tier talents are the threshold for understanding mysteries. Although Yi Tian had this insight, he hadn't yet comprehended the mystery. A mystery is a manifestation of the law, also called the law of mystery, which Yi Tian didn't yet know. He only knew that mysteries existed in the universe and in all things. Only a talent that has comprehended the mystery is a perfect talent that truly belongs to oneself. Comprehending a mystery was extremely difficult, even for Yi Tian, whose comprehension ability had been enhanced many times under the Enlightenment Steel. With only about 10 days left, could he comprehend it? Yi Tian didn't know, but he was unwilling to give up. Comprehend, comprehend, comprehend. Yi Tian's whole body and soul were immersed in defensive mysteries. Time ticked away, and there was only 1 day left before the Enlightenment Steel's period would end. On the last day, Yi Tian had a flash of insight and numerous realizations flooded his mind. So this is the mystery of defense. Yi Tian laughed. He activated his defensive talent, and its power began to fully integrate with his body. A strange fluctuation emanated from him. It was the power of mystery. Contrary to his expectations, even after grasping the defensive mystery, his talent did not reach the mystery level. Defensive talent. Pseudo-mystery 30%. The so-called 30% meant that Yi Tian's defensive talent had integrated 30% with his body, compared to 0 before. This indicated that he had taken a big step on the road to mystery-level defensive talent. When the integration reached 100%, his defensive talent would completely transform into a mystery-level defensive talent, a truly game-changing talent. Yi Tian tested it out. His pseudo-mystery level defensive talent was no longer boosted 30 times, but 35 times. Although it was only a minor improvement, it was a good start. He had already gained a trace of insight into the defensive mystery. As long as he continued to comprehend, he would inevitably reach the level of mystery-level defensive talent, which was far better than others who had no hope at all. More importantly, I also have the copy talent. If I encounter a pseudo-mystery level talent, I can copy it, and the degree of integration will progress quickly. Yi Tian looked forward to this day, but also knew that the chance of encountering another pseudo-mystery level defensive talent, or any other pseudo-mystery level talents, was extremely small. It was because he had laid the perfect foundation that he could step into the realm of pseudo-mystery level talents. Others, if they couldn't lay a perfect foundation, wouldn't be able to step into the realm of pseudo-mystery level talents unless they had special opportunities. Not thinking too much, let's continue to comprehend. Yi Tian prepared to use the last day to comprehend the defensive mystery and elevate his understanding of it. However, something unexpected happened. For announcements or to report mistakes, please join my Discord, web links. There will be advanced chapters posted there for free. Chapter 125, High-Tier Spatial Talent. Boom, boom, boom. A terrifying attack struck, shattering the Enlightenment space. What's going on? The T-Online beasts became alarmed, clueless about what had happened. Yi Tian looked up to the sky and saw towering figures appear among the clouds. 10 enormous T-Online beasts, each several hundred meters long, were engaged in fierce combat with a 10-meter-tall, blood-red, three-eyed divine monkey. The battle between them shook the void, obliterating countless dark clouds as beams of light pierced the sky. The sheer might of the struggle left Yi Tian in awe. This was certainly not the power of a king tier, it was something even greater. Yi Tian initially thought it was an evenly matched battle, but he was wrong. The divine monkey sent a T-Online beast into a mist of blood with a single palm strike, its body colliding with another T-Online beast and sending it flying. The moment that T-Online beast flew out, it lost all its vitality. The other T-Online beasts burned their blood essence in a futile attempt to stop the monkey, but at that moment, the monkey's third eye released a blade of spatial energy that instantly pierced the bodies of 3 T-Online beasts, killing them outright. Spatial talent, and even a spatial blade. It has to be high-tier spatial talent at the least. Yi Tian grew excited. This was the first time he had seen high-tier level spatial talent. Copy it. I must copy it, Yi Tian thought to himself. But he knew he couldn't fly up directly. Otherwise, his opponent could kill him from tens of thousands of meters away. There was no way to approach within a kilometer. Soon enough, the T-Online beasts above were all killed, and the monkey, seemingly ignoring the prohibition of the sacred mountain, flew directly in. Its gaze was fixed firmly on the Enlightenment Steel. The Enlightenment Steel was its goal. Qua, qua, qua. The divine monkey let out a loud cry. A spatial blade slashed the ground beneath the Enlightenment Steel, causing the earth to crack and the steel to wobble. T-Online beasts closer to the impact were killed by the shock, but those farther away were unharmed. Yi Tian was also affected, but his healing talent, although only high tier in this body, saved his life. He was just severely injured. Almost there, just 1,500 meters left. Yi Tian grew anxious. But the more pressing the situation, the calmer he needed to be. He knew he might not survive this time, so he first copied the death substitute talent from a T-Online beast, which calmed his mind. Next was whether or not he could copy the high-tier spatial talent. It all depended on luck now. The monkey obviously wanted to sever the Enlightenment Steel from its roots, so as to take it away. It was evidently fearful of the T-Online clan, as their true powers hadn't yet arrived. The 10 T-Online beasts just now were merely the guardians here. If the true powerhouses of the T-Online clan arrived, it would have no chance. Its spatial blade was extremely terrifying, it had even almost severed the connection between the Enlightenment Steel and the Sacred Mountain. If given time, it could really take away the Enlightenment Steel. Just then, a gigantic T-Online beast flew in from the distant horizon, thousands of meters long. Its terrifying aura dimmed even the sun's light. The divine monkey looked very apprehensive, glanced at the far distance, and hastened its actions. It came under the Enlightenment Steel and worked to sever its connection with the Sacred Mountain while also trying to pull the steel out. At this point, it was within 1,000 meters of Yi Tian. Yi Tian's copying talent enveloped the monkey as he immediately scrutinized its talents. Type: Three-Eyed Divine Monkey. Bloodline Talent: Morning Star Level. Spatial Talent: High Tier. Speed Talent: Medium. Blood Eye Talent: High Tier. Based on the talents, this divine monkey was extremely formidable, easily slaughtering peers. freewebnovel.com. Copy. Without saying another word, Yi Tian immediately copied the high-tier spatial talent, not even glancing at the other talents. Spatial talent was the real game changer. It was one of the two highest talents alongside time talent. Even if it was just high-tier spatial talent, the damage it could inflict far surpassed other top-tier or even pseudo-mystic level attack talents. Spatial attacks, though not highly potent, who could possibly withstand them? Even if Yi Tian was merely at the Grandmaster realm, the moment he unleashed his spatial blade, even powerful beings at the king level would find it hard to resist. Once he copied the high-tier spatial talent, he would possess a trump card, a truly formidable trump card. In the blink of an eye, Yi Tian successfully copied the high-tier spatial talent. Just then, a furious roar echoed from the distance. "Damn you, three-eyed divine monkey!" This was not human language, it was the resonant language of the T-Online beast. The next moment, a massive claw tore through the void, suppressing the three-eyed divine monkey. The void solidified, even Yi Tian couldn't move an inch. This was an entity horrifying enough to rival the golden eyes that initially split the space. Under this terrifying force, the three-eyed divine monkey's teleportation was suppressed, it couldn't escape for the time being. Roar! The three-eyed divine monkey was not conceding defeat. A huge spatial blade clashed with the massive claw of the T-Online beast. A terrifying shockwave swept through, affecting Yi Tian and the other T-Online beasts that hadn't escaped. Their bodies were instantly torn into countless pieces, they died on the spot. Back on Earth, a soul pierced through the void and entered a house. Yi Tian opened his eyes, his mind was excruciatingly painful. He was back, however, he hadn't stayed the full 3 months, he had been blasted back. My soul is damaged, it will take at least 3 months to recover. During this time, I can't comprehend array patterns or spells, but compared to what I've gained, it's all worth it. Yi Tian's face was flushed with excitement and eagerness. Substitute Death Talent, High-Tier Spatial Talent, Defensive Mysticism, Newly Realized Techniques, a silver-level technique known as Sky Extreme Slash. Any one of these gains was enough to drive anyone mad, and he had acquired them all. Suddenly, he recalled the moment when he was killed. The T-Online beast, which was less than a kilometer away from him, was still vivid in his mind. Type: T-Online beast. Bloodline Talent: Moonlight. Strength Talent: Medium. Speed Talent: Medium. Moonlight level Bloodline Talent. Could it be the talents above Morning Star or Moonlight level talents? My Xiao Shui's Dawn level Bloodline Talent must still be above Moonlight level. Yi Tian pondered. Morning Star, Moonlight, Dawn. Yi Tian was currently at the Morning Star level. But for those in the Demon Sea base, Morning Star level cultivation talent was already legendary. It won't take long, once I break into the King level, I'll head to the Super base. By then, copying 2 Morning Star level talents should get me to Moonlight level cultivation talent. Upgrading my cultivation talent won't be hard for me, Yi Tian confidently declared. First, let's integrate the 2 newly acquired talents, only by integrating them can I rest easy. Yi Tian hurriedly began the integration process. Perhaps due to his damaged soul, the pain during this integration was several times worse than before. Half an hour later, Yi Tian successfully integrated the Substitute Death Talent and High-Tier Spatial Talent. Substitute Death Talent. Yi Tian closed his eyes to sense the situation of his Substitute Death Talent, and quickly learned of its benefits. This talent is incredible. Yi Tian opened his eyes, overjoyed. Chapter 126. Substitute Avatar, Wham! Chapter 126. Substitute Avatar, Wham! The talent for substitution was indeed as Yi Tian had speculated, it could be used to cheat death once. However, it wasn't unconditional. Materials for a substitute were needed, such as the corpses of fierce beasts or humans. Utilizing the power of the substitution talent, he could modify these corpses into a substitute avatar. Afterward, this avatar would be hidden somewhere. If Yi Tian were killed in the outside world, he could instantaneously activate the talent for substitution. His true body and the substitute avatar would swap places instantly, letting the substitute die in Yi Tian's stead. TL note. Oh smiley face. Because the substitute avatar and the true body were nearly indistinguishable, as long as the enemy didn't inspect carefully, they would think they had killed the real deal. Such an against the heavens talent had its restrictions, however. It could be used only once every 3 years, and there were distance limitations. The true body couldn't be farther than 1,000,000 meters from the substitute avatar, otherwise the talent would become ineffective. Perhaps if he were to advance his medium-level death substitution talent to a higher level, the distance limitation would increase considerably and the time interval would also reduce. But for now, Yi Tian could only make do with the medium-level talent. I should take some time to create a substitute avatar. It's basically like having an extra life, Yi Tian muttered to himself. Shortly after, his attention shifted back to his spatial talent. Spatial talent, high tier. The medium-level spatial talent grants spatial perception, spatial markings, portable space, and teleportation. After upgrading to high tier, my portable space has increased tenfold, equivalent to a small plaza. Additionally, my other abilities have also greatly improved. Truly deserving of being a high-tier spatial talent, Yi Tian was quite satisfied. What he valued most, however, was the skill called Spatial Blade. Spatial Blade. With a mere thought, a black blade materialized in front of Yi Tian, formed entirely from spatial forces. It looked like a crack in space, but its shape resembled that of a blade. Disperse. Yi Tian deactivated the Spatial Blade talent. He didn't dare test it here, otherwise, the other kings would come to know of it. How would he explain it then? He couldn't expose his high-tier spatial talent just yet. I better focus on cultivation, Yi Tian murmured to himself. His soul was damaged, which would affect his comprehension of runes, intentions, and techniques. However, it would not affect his cultivation of the purple blood body refining technique. Thus, Yi Tian began to cultivate like mad, consuming the blood of king-level fierce beasts to cultivate the purple blood body refining technique daily. The next vein he aimed to refine was the Yongwei vein, and he was not far from completing it. In just 10 days, Yi Tian successfully refined the Yongwei vein, reaching a physical strength of 21 elephants. The third meridian he chose was the Yin Chao meridian from the 8 extraordinary meridians. Days that followed were monotonous, cultivating, and occasionally clearing out some fierce beasts. In this manner, Yi Tian had been guarding the spatial rift for 2 months. 26 units of strength, that should be enough. Yi Tian packed up his things and walked out of the room with Xiao Shui. Today was the day to leave the top grade array. Not only him, but other kings and array masters were also leaving behind just 1 array master and 1 king to guard the place. The top grade array had stabilized, as had the spatial rift, so there was no need for multiple people to guard it. Wham! An airship flew in. Ha ha ha, people have come to take over, let's all prepare to leave, said a king-level individual. Soon enough, a group of people disembarked from the airship. So many people, Yi Tian frowned. Wasn't it said that there would only be 1 array master and 1 king? Why were there so many people, and aside from 2 men, all were women? Suddenly, he had an epiphany and smiled wryly. The king and the array master who would be stationed here would surely be here for more than 2 months. Long-term guarding would inevitably be boring. Bringing along some maids could occasionally satisfy emotional and other needs. The king-level mage and the array master assigned to this location would certainly stay for more than 2 months. A long-term deployment was bound to be tedious, so bringing along some maids could occasionally meet their basic and other needs. Yi Tian would not judge their lifestyle. After completing the mission, Yi Tian and the other king-level mages and array masters returned to the Demon Sea base in a flurry. Riding on Xiao Shui, Yi Tian returned home swiftly. Once he was home, it was already afternoon. Yi Tian saw Yi Yu, his younger sister, who was cultivating. She had already reached the Great Warrior realm and graduated from the martial arts school. Big brother, you're back. Upon seeing Yi Tian, Yi Yu, who had been missing him for months, quickly threw herself into his arms. Good girl, I'll cook tonight. Let's have a feast. Yi Tian patted Yi Yu's head and smiled. Yes. Yi Yu nodded her head, her eyes full of anticipation and her face brimming with cuteness. Consequently, Yi Tian personally prepared a sumptuous meal with various beast meats, vegetables, and fruits. The siblings ate happily, and Yi Tian relished the warm family gathering. To protect this home, I need even greater strength. In this era, to stagnate means potential obliteration at any moment. freewebnovel.com. Staring at Yi Yu's smiling face, Yi Tian silently vowed. After dinner, Yi Tian resumed his intense cultivation. He aimed to reach the king-level realm as quickly as possible. Only by ascending to that level would he qualify to compete in this wondrous age of talents. He would go to that super base and contend with numerous prodigies. Time flew, and days passed. In the basement of his villa, Yi Tian was tinkering with a corpse of a high-level peak beast. He planned to transform this corpse into a death substitute clone. At that moment, a mere corpse was insufficient, he also needed some auxiliary materials, along with his own blood. These past days, he had people acquire the materials. Though not precious, gathering them took several days. Finally, everything was in place. Eagerly, he wanted to create a death substitute clone to give himself an extra life. He divided the materials, ground them into powder, dripped in his own blood, mixed it, and then applied it to the beast corpse. Let's begin. Yi Tian channeled his moderate death substitute talent's power into the beast corpse. Thud, thud, thud. The beast corpse began to transform, gradually shrinking into a flesh sphere. After a while, it started morphing into a humanoid shape. Eventually, the beast corpse became an identical human form to Yi Tian, albeit devoid of life force, like a dead person. My death substitute clone is done. Yi Tian sighed in relief. He could sense the connection between himself and the clone. Once a year, he could activate his death substitute talent to switch places with the clone. Subsequently, Yi Tian sealed the underground chamber, even setting up defensive and concealment arrays. 3 months quietly passed by. After these 3 months, Yi Tian's soul injuries were fully healed, leaving no aftereffects or impairments. Moreover, during this period, he was mostly in the home's intermediate-level qi cultivation chamber, increasing his strength by 27 elephants, taking his body's power to 53 elephants. Additionally, with the healing of his soul injuries, he could now comprehend new techniques and cultivate the silver-level technique, Heavenly Extreme /. For announcements or to report mistakes, please join my Discord, web links. There will be advanced chapters posted there for free. Chapter 127, A Three-Eyed Human, a 3-meter-tall human. The silver-level martial technique called Heavenly Extreme / was created by Yi Tian. For others, it would take considerable time to comprehend this silver-level martial technique. However, Yi Tian didn't have such hassles. His understanding of martial intent had already reached the 6th level. He could quickly master the silver-level martial technique to perfection. In the following days, Yi Tian devoted himself to comprehending the Heavenly Extreme /. On the first day, he grasped the basics of the Heavenly Extreme /. On the third day, he achieved the minor level. On the 6th day, he attained the major level. By the 10th day, he mastered it to perfection. It took him just 10 days to master a silver-level martial technique to perfection, a feat considered impossible by other martial artists. Even those with top-level martial talent, whose martial intent had reached the 6th level, would require at least a year to fully master a silver-level martial technique. Yi Tian achieved it in a mere 10 days. Such is the advantage of creating one's own martial technique. After mastering the Heavenly Extreme / to perfection, Yi Tian's strength had increased manifold. His physical strength had reached the level of 53 elephants, and with the enhancement from his vital energy, it was equivalent to 106 elephants. His pseudo-mystic level strength talent could amplify his attack 30 times, and the Heavenly Extreme / could stack another 12 times onto that. By these calculations, Yi Tian's strongest attack could reach a force of 38,160 elephants. My one strike has reached 38,160 elephants of force, even though I'm only at the Grandmaster level. Yi Tian couldn't help but feel immensely proud of himself. The crucial point was his capability to exert such enormous power. Ordinary people, lacking a perfect foundation and unable to break the limits of heaven and earth, wouldn't be able to exert over 100 times their attack power, regardless of how strong their talents were. Yi Tian calculated, the minimum physical strength at the king level is 150 elephants, and at its peak, it's 10,000 elephants. With enhancements, that becomes 20,000 elephants. In this regard, my attack power has already surpassed that of king-level beings without special talents. One could say that among those at the king level, Yi Tian was exceedingly powerful. Furthermore, he also possessed top-tier speed talents. His speed was not significantly inferior to that of mighty king level beings, although it paled in comparison to those at the invincible king level. However, I still have the trump card of spatial blade. Once I reach the peak of the Grandmaster level, I might even possess the combat power of an invincible king. The invincible king. This was the combat level Yi Tian had longed for in his dreams, and he was almost there. Given his rate of cultivation, it would only take a few more months. Soon, he would have to prepare to leave the Demon Sea base and head to the super base. For better talents, he had to move. During these months at the Demon Sea base, he hadn't even managed to copy any superior talents. He had only copied some average ones like top-tier wind blade talent from Yunfeng, high-level thunder talent, etc., which didn't significantly aid him in combat. Of course, he also copied one decent talent, a medium-level illusion talent. While not especially useful in combat, it was quite effective for interrogating enemies. But what Yi Tian truly desired weren't these talents. He was looking for Dawn Star level cultivation talents, pseudo-mystic level talents, or higher level spatial talents and abilities similar to life exchange or soul transfer. These were what he really wanted, yet he couldn't find them at the Demon Sea base. Therefore, he was eager to leave the Demon Sea base as soon as possible. On this day, Yi Tian visited the Yu family. He wasn't there to see Yu Ling. Instead, he came to pay his respects to the Yu family's only king-level ancestor, Lord Yu Ling. Deep within the Yu family compound stood a classical small courtyard. This was where Lord Yu Ling resided. He preferred a quieter environment, which was why his living space was designed this way. Brother Yu, I apologize for disturbing you today, Yi Tian began. Not at all, young friend Yi. Your visit is an honor for me, Lord Yu Ling responded graciously. Lord Yu Ling's face was filled with joy. Brother Yu, how did it go last time when you were investigating the matter for me? Yi Tian asked expectantly. Lord Yu Ling knew exactly what Yi Tian was asking about. The last time they had parted, Yi Tian had asked him to investigate a super base, particularly how to gain entry into it. I've found some information, Lord Yu Ling said, his expression turning serious. Getting into the super base is not easy. They have high requirements for outsiders. If you just want to stay there for a few days, it might not be an issue, but if you want to become a resident, it's not just about having money, you need strength. Even those at the king level often do not qualify to become residents of the super base. The requirements are that high. Yi Tian frowned. Indeed, they are. This is to maintain the dignity and talent level of the super base. If a large number of people with low talent were to flood the super base, although the population would indeed increase, the overall quality would decline, Lord Yu Ling explained. Yi Tian nodded, accepting this reasoning. But what Lord Yu Ling said next shocked him. Yi Tian, strength is just one aspect. The real issue is that the internal dynamics within the super base are incredibly complicated. It seems. Lord Yu Ling hesitated, as if he were reluctant to say or even believe what he was about to share. Seems what? Yi Tian urged. It seems that it's not just humans from our time who are there. Lord Yu Ling took a deep breath. What do you mean? Yi Tian's face changed. I'm not entirely sure myself. I heard it from a powerful king-level individual, who in turn heard it from other king-level individuals. Apparently, someone in a super base saw people who were 3 meters tall, and humans with 3 eyes. But how can humans have 3 eyes or be that tall? Lord Yu Ling seemed to imply that this was impossible, but he also knew that there must be some basis for such outrageous claims to circulate. Yi Tian pondered. Whether the super base really harbored such strange, unmodern humans, he would only find out after he went there himself. Do you have a map to the super base? That was what Yi Tian was most concerned about. With a map, he could make his way into the super base. Without one, searching for it in the vast wilderness was tantamount to seeking his own death. freewebnovel.com. I do, but only a rough location, Lord Yu Ling replied, pulling out a hand-drawn map. It marked a super base, Zonghai Super Base, which was the same base that Yunmeng had gone off to explore. Thank you. Yi Tian gratefully took the map. Then, to Lord Yu Ling's surprise, he tossed over a secret manual. This manual is my payment for your help. I have other matters to attend to, so I won't stay here any longer, he said, and left. Lord Yu Ling initially wanted to return the manual to Yi Tian, but when he picked it up, he froze. Silver level technique, Heavenly Extreme Slash. Upon closer inspection, he saw that the Heavenly Extreme Slash could simultaneously boost both attack and speed. When mastered, it could augment one's attack 11-fold and nearly double the attack speed. Only Yi Tian could augment it 12-fold, others could only go up to 11. This silver level manual is truly priceless. Lord Yuling trembled a bit. Although the Yu family rarely had talents with an affinity for techniques and sword skills were essentially two sides of the same coin. Talents in sword skills could also cultivate techniques by making slight modifications, and still unleash about 80–90% of a technique's power. Moreover, this silver-level technique would be extremely valuable to the Yu family, as they only possessed one incomplete silver-level technique manual. This payment is too generous. Lord Yuling thought to himself, filled with gratitude. Chapter 128, High-Level Array Master. Chapter 128, High-Level Array Master. Lord Yuling wasn't someone to feign courtesy. If the reward had no value to the Yu family, he would return it. However, this silver-level sword technique indeed meant a lot to the Yu family, so he couldn't bear to return it. freewebnovel.com. I'll find a way to repay Etn in the future. Lord Yuling thought to himself. However, he also knew that the chance might be slim, as he guessed that Etn would soon head to the Zonghai super base. Whether they would have the chance to meet again was uncertain. At home, Etn spread out the map, meticulously examining each point marked on it. There weren't many notable locations. It included the 3 big bases and Zonghai base, along with a few medium-sized bases and some iconic landmarks. The map is indeed simple, but it marks the position and approximate distance to the Zonghai super base. 1 million kilometers, this distance is indeed far. Yi Tian murmured. In his previous life, 1 million kilometers would be extremely exaggerated, but in this world, it was a normal distance. This was because the Earth had expanded too much. It seems that the Earth has expanded far more than just a few hundred times. If it had only expanded a few hundred times, the distance between the Demon Sea base and the Zonghai super base couldn't be 1 million kilometers. Yi Tian pondered. The entire map didn't even have the coastline drawn, probably because they had never been to the seaside. Rumors were that there were great horrors by the sea, but what exactly those horrors were, Yi Tian didn't know. Even king-level individuals dared not approach the seaside. For this reason, people only knew that the 3 large bases were near the sea, yet they had never even seen the sea. From the southwest direction of the Demon Sea base, cross 500,000 kilometers, pass a huge river, said to be a branch of the Yangtze River, but now it has turned into a river with a width of thousands of kilometers. This stretch is the most dangerous. Without great strength, one simply can't cross the river, even ordinary king-level individuals would perish. This was the brief introduction on the map about this stretch of river, and the only introduction. No wonder many king-level individuals from the Demon Sea base dare not go to the super base. It's probably because they fear this river. Yi Tian speculated. However, he was determined to go. Originally, he planned to take Yi Yu, Xiao Shui, Xiao Jin, and Xiao Zi with him, but not anymore. It's not that he didn't want to take them, but it was better to wait for a while. According to Yu Ling, without king-level strength, the Zonghai super base would not accept them. Yi Yu was only at the peak of the Great Martial Realm, and even if she went to the Zonghai super base, they wouldn't accept her. So, Yi Tian planned to go alone first, then find a way to secure a spot for Yi Yu in the Zonghai super base, and come back to take her later. Once I reach the pinnacle of the Grandmaster level and break through to the King level, I'll head straight to the Zonghai base. Yi Tian made up his mind. In the following time, Yi Tian began to practice hard, hardly ever going out, and only occasionally going out with his sister for a stroll. As Yi Tian progressed, Yi Yu also advanced. With the massive supply of top-tier beast blood provided by Yi Tian, and her decent talent, she was progressing step by step towards the pinnacle of the Great Martial Realm. Yi Tian also thought about purchasing an item that could elevate Yi Yu's talent to the extraordinary tier, but such items were not available for purchase. Even the Yun family couldn't obtain them, otherwise, there wouldn't be so few with transcendent-level cultivation talents. Items that could enhance talents above the top tier were extremely rare. Once one reached the Morning Star level of cultivation, it was estimated that no such items could be found for further enhancement. There should be some in Zonghai super base. Yi Tian mused, looking forward to the prospects and the resources that the super base could offer. Yi Tian planned to purchase items that could elevate talent to extraordinary tier in Zonghai super base, regardless of the cost. After all, he only had this one sister, whom he cherished very much. Time flew, and another month passed. In this month, Yi Tian increased his strength by 9 elephants, reaching a strength of 62 elephants, and also copied 2 talents, a high-level tracking talent that could discern the residual scent in the air to track enemies, and a high-level ice talent. He chose the high-level ice talent because it could freeze rivers, which could be advantageous during combat. Considering this, he replicated this talent to prepare for the day he would cross the 10,000-kilometer-wide river, so as not to be at a disadvantage on the river. Meanwhile, Yi Tian began to continue contemplating arrays. He possessed top-level array talent, and it would be a waste not to study arrays. Moreover, the cultivation room where Yi Tian was currently closed-door cultivating only had a mid-level qi-gathering array. However, he knew of high-level qi-gathering arrays, which could gather more than 10 times the elemental energy qi. With his Morning Star level cultivation talent and the purple blood refining technique, cultivating in an environment with 10 times the elemental energy would undoubtedly increase his cultivation speed significantly. Therefore, to achieve an increase in cultivation speed, Yi Tian occasionally studied array patterns, aiming to elevate his array formation talent to the level of a senior array master. Whether he could acquire a high-tier qi-gathering array would be a concern for the future. 2 months later, Yi Tian's physical strength had increased to 80 elephants. He had tempered all his meridians except one. By this time, he had mastered 120 array patterns, reaching the level of a senior array master. Subsequently, he made a trip to the Array Master Association, wanting to obtain the high-level qi-gathering array, but only after careful inquiry did he learn that indeed the Array Master Association had the high-level qi-gathering array, but it was not easily accessible, being only in the possession of a top-level array master. And that top-level array master was not selling the high-level qi-gathering array. Even king-level individuals could not purchase it, as that top-level array master was also of king level. People are selfish, wanting to keep the good things for themselves, unwilling to share with others. Yi Tian understood this very well. Left with no choice, Yi Tian could only give up. There is only one place where the high-level qi-gathering array design can be obtained. Yi Tian thought of the Shangharai Tower. King Sheng was also a top-level array master back then, and he should have the design of the high-level qi-gathering array, but obtaining the design from the Shangharai Tower was somewhat difficult. Because each time one passed a level in the Shangharai Tower, only one design could be obtained, and what design it was depended on luck. Repeating the tower yielded no reward, so everyone had limited opportunities. 9 levels of assessment, passing the 9 levels one could become a disciple of King Shang, but everyone gave up the assessment after passing the 8th level. It's estimated that becoming a disciple of King Shang has some hidden secrets, otherwise, no one would be uninterested in King Shanghai's legacy. Yi Tian speculated. Therefore, he could only obtain 8 designs, but he had already passed 3 levels, obtaining 3 array designs, leaving only 5 chances. But the design of the high-level qi-gathering array couldn't possibly appear on the 4th or 5th level. It's estimated that only after the 7th or 8th level assessment would there be a chance for the qi-gathering array to drop, making the probability even lower. Let's leave it to luck, thought Yi Tian. Chapter 129. High-level qi-gathering array with 10 times the elemental energy. Chapter 129. High-level qi-gathering array with 10 times the elemental energy. Normally, to challenge the Shangharai Tower assessment, one could only take on the tasks from the Array Master Association one by one. However, in reality, it wasn't necessary to complete one to take on another. Yi Tian spent a little money, used some connections, and easily obtained the opportunity to enter the Shangharai Tower assessment. Initially, he could have sneaked into the assessment, but to avoid unnecessary trouble, he chose not to do so. Why sneak around when he could enter openly and uprightly? Shangharai Tower. Yi Tian started challenging from the 4th level. With his high-level array master status, he easily passed through the 4th level, then on to the 5th level. Half an hour later, Yi Tian arrived at the 7th level. The array of the 7th level was quite complex, a kind of fire and ice coexisting superposition array, akin to 2 array spaces combined together, a dual-attribute offensive high-level array. Although the power of such an array was indeed good, its weakness was also quite apparent. One only needed to find the point where the fire array space and ice array space were connected, shatter it, and the array would be broken. With the aid of top-level array talent, it took him less than 10 minutes to find that point. With one strike, he shattered it and broke the 7th level's array. Wow! An array appeared, a high-level array design, but not the high-level gathering array design he wanted. High-level fire serpent array design, no use. Yi Tian was disappointed, but still kept the design. He could sell it after all. 8th level. Yi Tian arrived here, seemingly entering a world of thunder and lightning. Thunder and lightning array, a good array. Among all the arrays, it belongs to the relatively powerful category. Yi Tian murmured. Boom boom boom. Massive thunderbolts as thick as water buckets bombarded Yi Tian, but he didn't even need to dodge. Merely holding up a pseudo-mystic level defense talent easily blocked the thunder and lightning attacks. King Shang was merely at king level, his real strength was not as good as Yi Tian's. How could the array he arranged harm Yi Tian? In fact, if Yi Tian wanted, he could forcefully break the array, but King Shang seemed to have considered this point. Once a king-level strong individual forcefully breaks the array, the entire Shang array tower's power would gather to confront that king-level individual. If he really wanted to forcefully break it, there would be only two results. One was failure to break, and the other was the collapse of the Shang array tower. Yi Tian didn't want to destroy the Shang array tower, otherwise, all the array masters of the Demon Sea base would resent him. He could leave, but his sister still had to live in the Demon Sea base for a long time. Therefore, he didn't want to take this step yet. Top-level array talent. Yi Tian's eyes looked into the world of arrays, where the world of thunder and lightning was revealed before him. Node. Yi Tian slowly searched for nodes. Anyhow, the array could not harm him, so he could research for as long as he wanted. Yi Tian's array skill was still somewhat lacking, and this thunder and lightning array needed a highly skilled high-level array master to break, while Yi Tian had just barely reached the high-level array master level. An hour later, Yi Tian finally let out a sigh of relief. He found an array node. Although only one was found, as long as this node was broken, the array would become unstable, other nodes would reveal flaws, and thus would be easily discovered. Break. Yi Tian shattered this node with one strike, and the entire thunder and lightning space shuddered. In Yi Tian's eyes, a few more nodes appeared in the world of thunder and lightning, fleeting, but he caught them. Over there, Yi Tian attacked those nodes, shattering them. In this way, after another 5 minutes, the entire thunder and lightning space was finally broken open by Yi Tian. At that moment, a design blueprint appeared before Yi Tian's eyes. Yi Tian opened it and was thrilled instantly. High-level Qi Gathering Array Blueprint. I can't believe my luck, there must have been many high-level array masters who passed the 8th level, but none acquired the high-level Gathering Array Blueprint, yet I got it. Yi Tian was very happy. With the high-level Gathering Array Blueprint in hand, his goal was achieved. Yet, he was quite curious about the 9th level, so he proceeded to it. However, upon reaching the 9th level, there wasn't an assessment, but a message left by King Shang. Successor, regardless if you are a high-level or top-level array master, if you wish for my inheritance, you must vow to slay an invincible king-level individual named Shui Qianyu. Kill this damned woman. As long as you vow to do so, I will present all treasures, array designs and even 3 high-level elemental body forging secret techniques. You must promise to kill her within 50 years by any means necessary. If you can't do it, you shall perish with your spirit and body obliterated. Remember, Shui Qianyu is from the Zonghai Super Base. Reading these words, Yi Tian was rendered speechless. Now he understood why other high-level array masters didn't complete the 9th level assessment. It was because the so-called assessment was a vow. But only a fool would make such a vow. It was clear that King Shang harbored deep hatred towards Shui Qianyu from the Zonghai Super Base, though who was right and who was wrong remained unclear. But judging from such a venomous vow by King Shang, he wasn't a benevolent person. Demanding someone to kill Shui Qianyu within 50 years, and obliterating his spirit and body if unsuccessful, could a kind-hearted person leave such words? Perhaps it was King Shang who brought about his own demise due to his deeds. Without a second thought, Yi Tian turned around and left. The treasures of King Shang held no allure for him, and he wouldn't seek revenge on behalf of King Shang, especially since he had already achieved his goal. Yi Tian didn't return to the Array Master Association to report the task, instead, he went straight home. Upon reaching home, he took a look at the high-level Qi Gathering Array Design Blueprint. 3 array spaces. Yi Tian was astounded. The so-called high-level Qi Gathering Array was essentially 3 intermediate-level gathering arrays overlaid to form 3 array spaces. Of course, a lot of array patterns were added to stabilize the operation and connection of the 3 intermediate gathering arrays. Although he understood the principle now, without the design blueprint, Yi Tian wouldn't be able to set it up. At least 125 array patterns are required to set it up. Let's start collecting materials. Thus, Yi Tian cultivated while collecting materials for the high-level gathering array. The so-called materials were not just array disks. Various rare materials were needed to set up an array altar. On this vast array altar, array patterns needed to be engraved to set up the high-level gathering array. This was also one of the distinctions between high-level arrays and mid to low-level arrays. 10 days later, Yi Tian collected all the materials and began secretly constructing the array altar in a certain underground chamber beneath his villa. freewebnovel.com Another 10 days passed. Yi Tian's array attainment reached 125 array patterns, and the array altar was also completed. Engrave. Yi Tian, holding the engraving pen, meticulously engraved each array pattern onto the array altar. Finally, after half a day, the engraving of array patterns was completed. 10 elemental energy stones were placed in the array holes, activating the high-level gathering array. Boom! Countless elemental energies rushed in, forming a tidal wave of elemental energy. Soon, the elemental energy stabilized. 10 times the elemental energy, it's a success. Yi Tian was somewhat exhilarated. TL note. Qi Yuan Li elemental energy is basically the same thing. I also tried to translate it more literally this time, line by line, but the writing seems a bit less natural. Chapter 130. Opening acupoints, advancing to king level. Chapter 130. Opening acupoints, advancing to king level. Having set up the high-level Qi gathering array capable of amassing 10 times the elemental energy, he could cultivate here and the speed of his cultivation could reach more than 5 times. Originally, cultivating within the intermediate Qi gathering array could only augment his cultivation speed by 3 times, enabling an increase of 9 elephants of force in a month. Now with a cultivation speed of 5 times, he could gain at least 15 elephants of force in a month. 15 elephants of force in a month, what did this imply? In a little over a month, I can step into the pinnacle of grandmasters, possessing the qualification to challenge the king realm. Yi Tian murmured to himself. Thus, Yi Tian moved his cultivation spot to his underground cultivation chamber. He didn't inform Yi Yu about the high-level cultivation chamber, deciding to tell her before leaving the Demon Sea base. After all, the intermediate cultivation chamber was sufficient for Yi Yu at the moment. She was only at the Great Martial Realm, and cultivating too quickly wasn't good either. It was better to cultivate steadily and solidify her foundation. With a 5-fold increase in cultivation speed, Yi Tian became more diligent in his cultivation. Day after day of cultivation passed. During this time, Yu Ling also visited Yi Tian, but they only exchanged a few words. When Yu Ling learned that Yi Tian was about to head to the Zonghai super base, she was nothing but envious. For her, spending a lifetime in the Demon Sea base was the reality. If lucky, she could step into the king level. If not, she'd remain at the pinnacle of grandmasters forever. This was her fate, as well as the fate of many talents in the Demon Sea base. Yi Tian felt helpless about this, as he couldn't possibly help Yu Ling with all his might. For Yi Tian, striving to enhance Yi Yu's talents and aiming for higher realms was already extremely challenging. Yu Ling, after all, was an outsider and couldn't compare to Yi Yu. Although their relationship was good, it was merely friendship. Damn. Perhaps a quiet life in the Demon Sea base is more suitable for her. Yi Tian thought. The super base wasn't necessarily safer, the competition there might be even fiercer, and life there might not be as comfortable as in the Demon Sea base. Yu Ling wasn't cut out for the super base. Even if her talent fortuitously advanced to the extraordinary level and became a powerful martial king, she might just be in the lower echelons within the super base. Without sufficient talent, there was no need to force entry into that circle. Yi Tian craved entry into the super base because he could replicate talents. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in such a hurry to go there. 40 days later, Yi Tian had been in seclusion for 40 days. Besides daily meals and sleep, he spent the rest of his time in the high-level cultivation chamber. Now, he had reached the pinnacle of grandmasters. A physical strength of 100 elephants of force is the limit, even with a perfect foundation. Unless, I break through the bottleneck to advance to the king level. Grandmasters cultivate meridians, while king level cultivates acupoints. The human body has 365 main acupoints. Opening all 365 main acupoints allows entry into the pinnacle of king level, possessing 10,000 elephants of force. However, this process is very, very hard. This was what Yi Tian learned from Typhoon King's cultivation experiences. In reality, opening all 365 main acupoints was exceedingly difficult. Many at the king level could only open just over 300 acupoints and couldn't continue further, not only due to their lack of talent but also because of resource constraints. The resources consumed to open each acupoint were immense. If one cultivated step by step, even exhausting the lifespan of a martial king might not be enough to open all acupoints needed to reach the pinnacle of king level. In the Demon Sea base, only one individual had reached the pinnacle of king level, Yun Mengli. He had the backing of his enormous family, the Yun clan, and nearly depleted most of the Yun clan's resources to reach the pinnacle of king level, taking close to 60 to 70 years. How could ordinary king level individuals have such abundant resources? Based on Yi Tian's understanding, among the top king level powerhouses in the Demon Sea base, most had only unlocked over 200 acupoints. There were fewer than 5 individuals who had unlocked 300 acupoints. Yu Ling was among the weakest king-level individuals, having unlocked merely 3 acupoints. Had it not been for the fire spirit talent herb he obtained last time, which granted him a low-level fire talent, boosting his combat power dramatically, he might have currently been one of the weakest martial kings in the Demon Sea base. If Yi Tian were to stay in the Demon Sea base, even with the high-level cultivation chamber and Morning Star level talent, he wouldn't be able to advance to the pinnacle of king level within 10 years. This was an outcome he couldn't tolerate. I am already at the pinnacle of Grandmasters now, and I only need to unlock 1 acupoint to advance to the king realm. The key to unlocking acupoints is to sense the location of the acupoint, assault the acupoint, and open a space in the acupoint location. The acupoints in a human body are fixed and do not possess an acupoint space. This requires us to open it up. Top cultivation talents find it difficult to advance to king level because they struggle to unlock the acupoints, with too low of a success rate. If the attempt to unlock fails, their foundation will be damaged and they won't be able to challenge king level again. Yi Tian pondered. He wasn't worried about failing the attempt, he just needed to follow the cultivation method outlined in the Purple Blood Body Refining Secret Technique. Purple Blood Rushing Acupoints Technique. This was a cultivation method recorded in the Purple Blood Body Refining Secret Technique. Yi Tian sat cross-legged, gulping down a large amount of king-level fierce beast blood, and immediately, his consciousness entered his body, beginning to operate the purple blood rushing acupoints technique. Instantly, a vast amount of elemental energy from heaven and earth surged into his body. The king-level beast blood and the elemental energy transformed into pure energy, which, following the purple blood rushing acupoints technique, began to assault the Yunmen acupoint on the lung meridian of Han Taiyan weird cultivation lingo. Just ignore it. This was the first acupoint to be unlocked according to the technique. Boom, boom, boom. After just a few attempts, the Yunmen acupoint was opened, slowly expanding to form an acupoint space. Initially, the acupoint space was small, but with Yi Tian continuously refining the acupoint space, it began to stabilize. It took a few days to stabilize the acupoint space from the time it was opened. Yi Tian spent several days without eating or drinking, constantly refining it. For him, who was on the verge of stepping into king level, going without food for a month was nothing, even a year without eating or drinking would only be slightly uncomfortable. After all, at this level, the energy supply of the body could be entirely replaced by elemental energy. However, humans, being living beings, still needed to eat. It was a habit. 3 days passed. Yi Tian's Yunmen acupoint was fully opened, and the energy within his body began to flow into the Yunmen acupoint, gradually filling it up. King-level energy could not only be stored in the dantian but also in the acupoints. The energy at king level was so vast that running out of energy rarely occurred, unless during prolonged battles. This was also why the endurance of king-level combat was much stronger than grandmasters. Once the Yunmen acupoint was filled with energy, Yi Tian's first acupoint was truly opened. It was at this moment, the transformation began. Boom. An immeasurable amount of elemental energy surged into Yi Tian's body, refining every part of him, evolving his body towards the king level. Every moment, Yi Tian could feel his body changing. It was an evolution on the biological level. The increase in strength was secondary. The vitality within his body was skyrocketing crazily. Under normal circumstances, grandmasters could have a lifespan of 200 years, while king level could live for 500 years. However, due to Yi Tian's perfect foundation, he could live for 300 years even at the grandmaster level. Now, as he reached the king level, his lifespan would undoubtedly be more than 500 years. Chapter 131, Arrival at the Zonghai Super Base. Chapter 131, Arrival at the Zonghai Super Base. After an indeterminate amount of time, Yi Tian's body finally completed its metamorphosis. At this moment, he truly became a king-level entity. Lifespan. Yi Tian carefully sensed and discovered that his lifespan had reached at least 800 years or more. The thought of such a prolonged and vast lifespan was staggering, yet Yi Tian was still not satisfied. He yearned not for 800 years, but for eternal life, an endless lifespan. It wasn't easy. Before dying 100 years ago, he had traveled through time to this era and even acquired the talent of copying others' abilities, which was akin to cheating. If he didn't pursue eternal life, wouldn't it be a waste of his time travel and his unique talent? It's time to leave, Yi Tian murmured to himself. He planned to stabilize his realm before immediately heading to the Zonghai super base. In the following days, Yi Tian visited Yuling and Yuling. He informed them about his imminent departure from the Demon Sea base, requesting that they help Yi Yu if she encountered any trouble. Yuling and Yuling readily agreed, assuring him that no one would dare trouble Yi Yu within the Demon Sea base. At the villa, Yi Tian stored his substitute body in his personal space and then took Yi Yu to the underground advanced cultivation chamber. Xiao Yu, this is an advanced cultivation chamber. You will practice here in the future. Remember, do not reveal its secrets. The existence of an advanced cultivation chamber could bring many troubles, Yi Tian advised. Okay, brother, I understand. Yi Yu replied, not with excitement but with a sense of loss and reluctance. She already knew that her brother was leaving and for how long was uncertain. Now, she would have to live alone. Reluctantly, very reluctant. In the past, even when her brother went hunting in the wild, he would return in a few months. But now, he couldn't guarantee when he would return. These storage bags contain a large amount of resources. All your cultivation resources are inside. Try not to go hunting in the wild. Yi Tian handed the storage bags to Yi Yu, who silently accepted them, understanding her brother's concern for her safety. Afterwards, Yi Tian made many arrangements. He didn't take Xiao Jin and Xiao Zi with him, as they were already Yi Yu's beast companions. On that day, Yi Tian left the Demon Sea base, heading southwest. At this moment, Yi Tian sat on the back of Xiao Shui, looking back at the Demon Sea base, which soon disappeared from sight. Along the way, no flying beasts dared to provoke Yi Tian, as Xiao Shui had become a king-level beast. In reality, this cultivation speed was quite slow. According to Yi Tian's estimate, the Dawn-level bloodline talent should have been much faster. However, Xiao Shui said that it was still in its juvenile phase and its growth was slow. Once it reached its growth phase, its cultivation speed would truly explode. 10,000 kilometers, 20,000 kilometers, 30,000 kilometers, 40,000 kilometers. Xiao Shui flew at a steady pace, encountering several king-level flying beasts along the way, but before they could get close, Xiao Shui annihilated them with a burst of dragon flame. Finally, Yi Tian and Xiao Shui arrived at a river 100,000 kilometers away. The boundless river was comparable to the seas of the past. A tributary of the Yangtze River, now known as the Ling River, is 10,000 kilometers wide. With Xiao Shui and my speed, we can cross it quickly, but the river is full of fierce beasts, including many king-level beasts and even more terrifying ones beyond the king level. Yi Tian spoke softly, his expression showing some apprehension. With his current strength, he was not invincible even at the king level, let alone against beings above the king level. He needed to remain low-key. Xiao Shui, cross over as fast as possible. Yi Tian commanded. Yes, master, Xiao Shui responded. Xiao Shui was extremely solemn. Despite being a dragon, supreme among beasts, Xiao Shui was wary of the dangers of this river. It sensed many presences it could not contend with. Even some beasts with rubbish bloodlines had grown strong, while Xiao Shui was still in its juvenile phase and naturally not a match for them. Flying swiftly to avoid these terrifying beasts was also its intention. Whoosh! Xiao Shui's speed accelerated to its utmost, like a beam of light piercing through the void. However, its speed, no matter how fast, still attracted the attention of the powerful beasts lurking beneath the waters. Boom! The surface of the river erupted over 10,000 miles, reaching the skies. Countless beasts surged towards the sky, surrounding Yi Tian. Among them were top-tier and king-level beasts. Die! Yi Tian wielded his high-level Yuan Force Elemental Energy Blade, his blade intent bursting forth. Countless blade lights pierced the void, slaying beast after beast, causing them to fall into the Ling River. 1,000 kilometers, 2,000 kilometers, 3,000 kilometers. As they neared the other side of the river, the number of beasts increased. Just as Yi Tian and Xiao Shui were about to reach the other side, a 300-meter-long giant fish surged out. Its massive mouth was like a black hole, seemingly capable of swallowing the sun, moon, and stars. Of course, this was just an illusion. The fish was merely a king-level beast, but quite formidable among its peers. Heavenly Extreme Slash. Yi Tian executed this silver-grade sword technique against an enemy for the first time. The sword light slashed through the air with incredible speed, seemingly tearing through space-time. This strike was too fast, surpassing the limit speed of a typical king-level entity. With a splatter, the sword light bisected the giant fish. Its body fell into the river, causing 100-meter-high waves. This deterred many aquatic beasts, causing a stir among them. Yi Tian finally landed on the opposite bank of the river. Crossing the Ling River is indeed not something an ordinary martial king can accomplish. In the Demon Sea base, no more than 5 king-level entities can make it through. Yi Tian assessed. Xiao Shui continued to fly. The journey afterwards was relatively calm, with no significant dangers. Even the occasional king-level beasts they encountered didn't dare to provoke Xiao Shui. Soon, they were getting closer to the Zonghai super base. However, not knowing its exact location, it took Yi Tian and Xiao Shui 3 full days to find it. Found it. Yi Tian looked at a massive base ahead and sighed in relief. This base was 10 times larger than the Demon Sea base, and various flying boats hovered in the sky above it. From time to time, flying boats from afar landed at the designated docking area of the base. Each of these boats was many times more impressive than the wind-controlling ships of the Demon Sea base, like the difference between a small boat and an aircraft carrier, incomparable. This must be Zonghai Super Base without a doubt. Yi Tian was certain. freewebnovel.com. Swoosh. Yi Tian rode Xiao Shui towards one of the gates of the Zonghai Super Base. Soon, they arrived at the gate. This gate was enormous, a tower hundreds of meters tall, engraved with dense and intricate array patterns. As a high-level array master, Yi Tian could tell that the tower gate was equipped with multiple top-tier large arrays, impervious even to invincible king-level entities. Identity card. One of the king-level guards at the gate demanded. Chapter 132, Wang Yan's Gift. Chapter 132, Wang Yan's Gift. Like the Demon Sea base, every resident of the Zonghai Super Base also had an identity card, but obviously, the identity card from the Demon Sea base would be useless here. I am a warrior from the Demon Sea base and would like to become a member of the Zonghai Super Base. What procedures are needed? Yi Tian inquired. A warrior from the Demon Sea base. The king-level guard looked at Yi Tian with a bit of surprise. Warriors from major bases were rare sights. freewebnovel.com. It's simple, the guard explained. First, you need to have king-level cultivation. Second, you must leave an inch-long mark on the heavenly array steel. Then you can become a member of our Zonghai Super Base. I wish to undergo the test to join, Yi Tian stated. Go to the 3rd floor of the tower gate and say you want to undergo the test to join the base. Someone will take you to the test, the guard instructed. Thank you, Yi Tian expressed his gratitude with a fist salute. Besides the main door, the tower gate had many floors. Yi Tian took the Yuan Force elevator to the 3rd floor, while Xiao Shui waited outside for him. At that moment, Yi Tian encountered an unusual person, a human 3 meters tall. So, what Yu Ling said was true. There really are 3-meter-tall people, Yi Tian thought to himself, surprised, but he didn't show any reaction on his face. In his view, a 3-meter-tall human might be odd, but it could be quite normal in the Zonghai Super Base. Showing surprise might be interpreted as provocation and bring unwanted trouble, which was not his intention. Check. Yi Tian's copy talent enveloped the other person, revealing their talent clearly on his retina. Witchman. Saka. Cultivation talent. Extraordinary. This was an extraordinary cultivation talent without any special abilities, but the individual was described as a witchman, not a human. A witchman, is it a branch of humans? Yi Tian wondered to himself. Perhaps once he entered the super base, he would understand more about this. Soon, a human martial grandmaster appeared in front of Yi Tian. What can I do for you? The grandmaster didn't show much respect to Yi Tian, making him realize that king-level individuals didn't hold very high status in the Zonghai Super Base, unlike in the Demon Sea Base, where grandmasters would address a king level with respect. I want to take the test to join the base. Can you take me there? Yi Tian asked. Certainly. The grandmaster led Yi Tian to a large room with a huge steel inside, presumably the heavenly array steel. Not long after, a king-level woman appeared before Yi Tian. She was a middle-aged woman with strong cultivation, almost at the pinnacle of the king level. Human. Wang Yan. Cultivation talent. Extraordinary. Swordsmanship talent. High. Speed talent. Medium. Very strong. That was Yi Tian's first impression of Wang Yan. She possessed high-level swordsmanship talent. Given her age, she might have comprehended several levels of sword intent and likely practiced silver-level sword techniques. Coupled with her cultivation, her combat power was undoubtedly second only to invincible king levels, comparable to his own strength. Little guy, so you're the one who wants to join our Zonghai Super Base? Wang Yan smiled at Yi Tian and asked. How do you know I'm young? Yi Tian felt somewhat displeased with her address. After all, both were at the king level, and casually addressing someone as little guy seemed somewhat impolite. Your life energy is too vibrant and not concealed, unlike older king level individuals. I guess you're in your 20s. I am already over 80, so it's okay to call you a little guy, right? Wang Yan responded. Life energy. Yi Tian's expression changed as he realized that Wang Yan's life energy was very faint, not because she was close to death, but because it seemed hidden. Are there secret techniques in the super base to hide life energy? He curiously asked. Indeed, although somewhat rare, a king level can still learn it at a price. Little guy, if you can make a 10-inch mark, I'll gift you a secret technique to hide your life energy. How about that? Wang Yan proposed cunningly. Really, Yi Tian was somewhat tempted. Being identified by Wang Yan and having his robust life energy noticed, he indeed felt a bit uneasy and was very interested in acquiring a technique to conceal it. Really? Wang Yan affirmed. What strength is required to leave a 1-inch mark? Yi Tian asked, looking at the heavenly array steel. The heavenly array steel is made from a special material and inscribed with a top-tier array. It can withstand power beyond king level. To leave a 1-inch mark, you need a strength of 1,000 elephants, Wang Yan explained. 1,000 elephants? Yi Tian calculated silently. His physical strength had reached 150 elephants after breaking through to the king level and 200 elephants after stabilizing his realm. With the amplification of Yuan force, it could reach 400 elephants, but his pseudo-mystical strength talent could amplify it to 12,000 elephants. He couldn't reveal his silver-level techniques, as the accumulated attack power would be too overwhelming. Then I'll just use the amplification of my pseudo-mystical strength talent. 12,000 elephants should be enough to leave a 12-inch mark. Yi Tian planned. Immediately, he struck the heavenly array steel, activating his pseudo-mystical strength talent. Boom! The sword light struck the steel, leaving a clear mark. Wang Yan checked it and said, a 12-inch mark, congratulations on joining the Zonghai super base. Here, this is your reward. She handed Yi Tian a secret book. Yi Tian didn't examine it immediately but accepted it with thanks. Let's go, I'll take you to complete the formalities. Wang Yan quickly processed the procedures, and soon, Yi Tian held a new identity card for the Zonghai super base. After entering the super base, Wang Yan looked at Yi Tian's personal information and murmured, perfect foundation. Even in the super base, not many can forge a perfect foundation. This young man must be a disciple of some old monster. To forge a perfect foundation, even the great families of the super base struggle to cultivate one. This guy, if he really comes from the Demon Sea base, shouldn't belong to any family, since they aren't able to gather resources for forging a perfect foundation. Unless an old monster passing by took him as a disciple. So young, yet already at king level and with a perfect foundation, his cultivation talent must be at least at the morning star level, or even the moonlight level. Giving him a small gift should gain his favor, and befriending a future powerhouse is a good investment. After entering the super base, Yi Tian encountered many witchmen and another type of human race, the three-eyed human race, among others. Curious about all this, he found a hotel, rented a room, and settled in for the time being. In his room, Yi Tian examined the secret book Wang Yan gave him. It was titled, Turtle Breath Technique, but this technique only occupied 1 page, followed by much information about the Zonghai super base, various human races, and the history of the super base. Why is Wang Yan so kind to me? Yi Tian wondered. Clearly, she realized he was a novice to the super base and thus gave him this gift. He needed to integrate into the super base quickly, and this gift was indeed very valuable. He acknowledged that he now owed Wang Yan a favor. Chapter 133, Ancient Humans and Modern Humans. Chapter 133, Ancient Humans and Modern Humans. The turtle breathing technique, though not overly complex, involved manipulating the 8 extraordinary meridians to conceal one's aura. Once one had refined these meridians, they could practice this technique. Yi Tian spent half an hour mastering it, successfully concealing his aura. Now others can't discern my age and life energy. Finally, I won't attract unwanted attention. He sighed in relief. He then continued to peruse the information about the super base, growing increasingly shocked and incredulous as he read. After several hours, he had absorbed all the content. So this is the origin of the super base. Yi Tian took a deep breath. The super base wasn't established by humans over a century ago, but with the help of humans from a mysterious realm. A century ago, when spatial rifts appeared and ferocious beasts descended, human conventional weaponry lost its effectiveness, causing humanity to nearly go extinct. That's when the mysterious realm emerged. Connected to Earth by spatial rifts, this realm also harbored humans. Long ago, Earth too had some chi energy, albeit much less than now. Some humans had entered this realm by chance or were drawn into it, seeking refuge from various disasters. Gradually, they settled there, isolated from the outside world. With Earth's transformation and the emergence of spatial rifts a century ago, the barriers between the mysterious realm and the outside world were bridged. Thus, humans who had undergone mutations and evolutions in the realm appeared. Like how humans in Earth's uninhabitable regions evolved into different races with varying skin colors, humans in the mysterious realm also mutated and evolved under different environmental conditions. These humans from the mysterious realm, different from modern humans, came to be known as ancient humans. Ancient humans often possessed special talents. For instance, many of the three-eyed humans had pupil technique talents in their third eye, though such cases were rare. Another example was the Witchmen, rumored to be descendants of the Zhuli tribe from the Yan and Huang era, who entered a mysterious realm and continued to thrive till now. Originally robust, they evolved over generations in the realm and eventually became the 3-meter-tall Witchmen. After Earth's transformation, sensing the rich vital energy and abundant resources of ferocious beasts outside, many ancient humans emerged from the mysterious realm. Actually, the realm's resources had been gradually depleted over generations and joined modern humans to establish super bases to resist the beasts. Initially, modern humans relied heavily on ancient humans to repel the beasts. From the beginning, ancient humans had warriors, elite warriors, and great warriors, even grandmaster-level powerhouses, making it easier to withstand the beasts, thus preserving a large population in the super bases. For instance, the Zonghai super base had a population of 30 million, 3 times that of the Demon Sea base. The Zonghai super base was not the only one, there were other super bases, just more distant and with little communication between them. In these super bases, ancient humans held leadership roles, but their numbers were ultimately fewer than modern humans, whose talents grew stronger over generations. Nowadays, the strength of modern humans was comparable to, and even subtly surpassing, that of ancient humans. But there was something more. Wang Yan mentioned something in the document, that among the ancient humans, there seemed to be some terrifyingly powerful beings who have lived for many years. No one knows exactly how long they've been alive or how powerful they are, as they rarely make public appearances, Yi Tian murmured to himself. He smiled slightly. The super base is even more fascinating than I thought. In the information provided by Wang Yan, there was also a ranking of the major forces within the base. The top-ranked power was the Battle Axe Mercenary Hall, a loosely organized group with far-reaching influence. Most of the residents of the Zonghai base were members of this guild, registering as mercenaries and taking on tasks for rewards. The second-ranked power was the Qin sect, a sect-based force whose upper echelons were entirely composed of the Qin people, descendants of a group from the Qin dynasty who had entered the mysterious realm and thrived there. The Qin people resembled modern humans, but both men and women sported long hair, making them easily recognizable. The third place was occupied by the Witch God Temple, established by the Witchmen. It was an organization that strictly didn't accept non-Witchmen, as they worshipped Caillou, a real witch figure who was killed by the Yellow Emperor. The Witchmen had retreated into a mysterious realm after Caillou's death and only emerged recently to integrate with other humans. They tended to be wary of non-Witchmen and did not welcome them into their temple, unlike the Qin sect, which was open to people of all races except for their top leadership. The fourth-ranked power was the Loose Cultivators Alliance. This was a force beyond sects and families, attracting warriors without affiliations. The Loose Cultivators Alliance facilitated free trade among its members and even allowed seeking help from higher-ups, but always adhered to the principle of equivalent exchange. The alliance did not give anything for free, everything required an equal trade. Thus, it attracted even king-level loners and grew rapidly. These 4 major forces controlled half of the Zonghai super base's power, while the other half was dominated by various large families. When these families united, even the disciples of the 4 major powers dared not provoke them. The Loose Cultivators Alliance seems like a good fit for me. It facilitates trading for resources and treasures as long as you have something of equal value to offer. Even transactions between warriors and king-level individuals must follow the principle of equivalent exchange, or they would be judged by the alliance. The more Yi Tian read, the more he liked this power. Moreover, the alliance didn't restrict personal development of private forces, as long as they didn't grow to rival the major powers. My next goal is to buy a decent property and then join the Loose Cultivators Alliance, Yi Tian planned. Over the next few days, Yi Tian first obtained a silver tier card and then sold some materials to acquire a significant amount of money. The currency value in the Zonghai super base was different from that of the Demon Sea base. 1 unit of currency in Zonghai was equivalent to 10 in the Demon Sea base. After selling his goods, Yi Tian acquired 30 billion in Zonghai currency, equivalent to 300 billion in Demon Sea base currency. The Zonghai super base was divided into many districts, some predominantly inhabited by ancient humans. Yi Tian naturally didn't opt for those areas, instead choosing the Jinggu district, mostly inhabited by modern humans, where he bought a large villa for about 20 billion. After settling down, he purchased some living essentials and also got a pet certificate for Xiao Shui. With all these arrangements, Yi Tian was truly settled in the Zonghai super base. Chapter 134, Just a Poor Guy. Chapter 134, Just a Poor Guy. At the Jinggu branch of the Loose Cultivators Alliance, Yi Tian arrived to trade some items. Upon entering, he felt as if he had stepped into a marketplace, with many shops set up by grandmasters and even king-level practitioners, selling a variety of treasures. The branch also featured a huge screen displaying information about various treasures for sale, complete with contact details for those interested in direct transactions. Interesting. Yi Tian glanced at the screen, noting numerous treasures, including high-level Yuan Force elemental body refining techniques, which could bolster an entire family in the major bases but were casually sold here. This underscored the vast gap between major bases and super bases. After browsing around and purchasing some array materials for setting up an advanced chi gathering array to accelerate his cultivation, Yi Tian utilized his copy talent within a 1500-meter radius, increased from 1000 meters after his ascent to king level. He encountered many with extraordinary cultivation talents, some with top-level and high-level talents, showcasing the high caliber of individuals in the super base. But even here, Morning Star level talents were rare, indicative of exceptional genius. Yi Tian's attention was caught by a young man with a Morning Star level cultivation talent, likely a high-ranking member of the Loose Cultivators Alliance, possibly above king level. Without hesitation, Yi Tian copied his talent. Armed with the materials for his array and having traded some items without losing money, Yi Tian didn't need too much cash. After all, some of the best items in the alliance required barter, not purchasable with money. Wondering if there was an item in the alliance that could elevate a practitioner's talent to the extraordinary level, Yi Tian had his sister in mind, hoping to ease her path to king level. He indeed found such an item, the Willow God Liquid, capable of elevating a practitioner's talent to the extraordinary level. However, the trade requirement was a treasure that could bestow a medium-level fire talent, a rare find. Despite not being able to afford the top-tier Yuan Force body refining techniques and other expensive treasures aiding in breaking through meridians, all of which required barter, Yi Tian realized he was still quite poor compared to the wealth displayed in the alliance. freewebnovel.com. Returning home, Yi Tian began setting up the advanced chi gathering array, finally establishing his own high-level cultivation chamber in the Zonghai super base. Yi Tian pondered for a moment. I'll pause my cultivation for now and focus on exhausting my copy opportunities. I just need one more Morning Star level cultivation talent to transform my own. There are numerous powerhouses at the Zonghai super base, surely, it can't be that difficult to find a Morning Star level cultivation talent, right? With that thought, he left his home to search for the talent he needed. The intermediate super base was vast, akin to the size of a province dam, and sparsely populated, making his search within a 1500-meter radius less effective than he'd hoped. Finding a Morning Star level talent was not going to be easy. Suddenly, Yi Tian heard a commotion. Let's go. Fairy Yueling from the Moon God sect and Qin He, a young genius of the Qin sect, are about to spar at our Jinggu district's battle axe dueling arena. Fairy Yueling and Qin He are going to face off. This is a major event, let's hurry over. We might miss it if we dally. Fairy Yueling, my goddess. I must see her. HMPH, my goddess will surely win. Hearing these titles, Yi Tian grew interested. He wasn't going to watch for the sake of admiring beauty, but rather to observe their talents. Those hailed as geniuses would likely possess Morning Star level talents. So, he followed the crowd to the venue. Soon, Yi Tian arrived at the Battle Axe Dueling Arena, a part of the Battle Axe Mercenary Hall's properties, designed specifically for sparring and resolving conflicts. It was the only place where unrestricted combat was allowed, a rule similar to that of the Demon Sea Major Base. Given that humans were far outnumbered by ferocious beasts, constant infighting would only hinder human population growth and development. Therefore, security measures were even stricter in the Zonghai super base, with even covert assassinations being uncovered. Inside the arena, Yi Tian saw two young individuals engaged in a duel, protected by a massive defensive barrier. This was a defense formation that even king-level practitioners couldn't break, ensuring the safety of the spectators. Copy talent. Yi Tian focused on their talents. Qin He. Cultivation talent. Extraordinary. Strength talent. High. Combat will talent. Medium. Spear technique talent. Medium. Li Yueling. Cultivation talent. Morning star level. Moon god talent. Medium. Sword technique talent. Top level. Water curtain talent. Low. Qin He only has an extraordinary talent. Yi Tian was surprised. He had expected both to be of similar talent levels, but the disparity was vast. One was extraordinary and the other morning star level. However, he quickly realized the reason. Qin He's combat talent was formidable. His high-level strength and medium-level spear technique talents combined to make him overwhelmingly powerful in battle, easily crushing his peers. This more than compensated for his lesser cultivation talent, earning him the reputation of a genius. Chapter 135. The Moonlight Cultivation and Star-Level Kings. Chapter 135. The Moonlight Cultivation and Star-Level Kings. First, I'll copy the Morning Star-Level Cultivation talent. With a thought, Yi Tian instantly copied Li Yueling's Morning Star-Level Cultivation talent. Then, he turned his attention to the ongoing battle. Li Yueling had a significantly higher level of cultivation than Qin He. Although both were at the king level, the number of acupoints they had opened differed greatly. Yi Tian estimated that Li Yueling had opened nearly 200 acupoints, while Qin He had only managed about 30. This disparity was why Li Yueling's combat strength was not inferior to Qin He's. This battle should be won by Li Yueling, Yi Tian concluded. He noted that Li Yueling's Moon God talent, though only of medium level, was extremely potent. Upon activation, a Moon God Phantom would appear behind her, enhancing her speed, reaction, strength, and recovery rate, an all-around boost. However, Yi Tian found it too mundane for his interest, as an all-around improvement also meant it was average in nature. Additionally, Li Yueling practiced a powerful silver-level sword technique to perfection, amplifying her attack power by 11 times. After a long battle, Li Yueling finally sent Qin He's spear flying with her sword, securing a narrow victory. Haha, as expected, Fairy Yueling won. The crowd cheered. Why does Qin He keep challenging her when he's never won? Someone wondered aloud. It's precisely because he's never won that he wants to, another replied. Qin He, his face dark with frustration, declared, Li Yueling, I will defeat you next time. You won't have the chance. You're just an extraordinary talent, while I possess a Morning Star level cultivation talent. The huge difference between our talents is clear. With my talent, there's a 70–80% chance I'll break through to the Saint level, but you hardly have even a 1% chance. In the entire Zonghai super base, there are hardly a handful who can ascend to the Saint level from the extraordinary level. Do you think you can be one of them? Li Yueling stated matter-of-factly, without a trace of disdain. The future is unpredictable. Besides, with my talent, I have hopes of reaching a 5-star king level, comparable to a weaker Saint level. Can you reach the 5-star king level? Qin He retorted. 5-star king level. This was a concept Li Yueling dared not claim, but she responded, what does it matter? By the time you reach 5-star king level, I'll already have stepped into the Saint level. Your strength will still fall short of mine. Arguing further is pointless. Why do you keep challenging me? With that, Li Yueling left, leaving behind a resentful Qin He. In the spectator stands, Yi Tian silently noted the terms they mentioned, Saint level and 5-star king level. He had vaguely heard of the Saint level, a realm beyond the king level, but the Demon Sea Mega Base had no Saint level powerhouses. As for the 5-star king level, he had no idea about it, guessing it to be a subdivision of the king level. It seems I need to learn more about the Zonghai super base, or else I won't even fully understand what others are talking about, Yi Tian mused. Having successfully copied the Morning Star level talent and achieved his goal, he went to a store and bought a comprehensive encyclopedia on the Zonghai super base, thicker than any Chinese dictionary he had seen before, freewebnovel.com. Back home, before delving into the encyclopedia, Yi Tian began the process of integrating the Morning Star level talent. Integrate. He braced himself for the familiar pain, more intense this time as it signified his transformation to the Moonlight level cultivation talent. After enduring the agony for 10 minutes, his talent finally evolved. Looking at his upgraded cultivation talent, Yi Tian felt a surge of excitement. Immediately, Yi Tian tested his cultivation speed. It's increased by 3 times. He exclaimed in surprise. He estimated that in the advanced cultivation chambers of the Zonghai super base, without using any special treasures to break through acupoints, he could now open 15 acupoints in a month, compared to 5 previously. Each acupoint increased his physical strength by about 25 to 26 elephants, power, meaning he could now gain nearly 700 to 800 elephants, strength every month. Just a bit more to reach the pinnacle of the king level, Yi Tian thought, astounded by the capabilities of the moonlight level talent. Such a talent was rare, even in the vast Zonghai super base. After calming his excitement, Yi Tian delved into the comprehensive encyclopedia. 2 days later, he had a clear understanding of the Zonghai super base. So, the 5-star king level is a classification of king level combat power. He realized, the star level king combat power starts from the peak of the ordinary king level. For example, a king level without any special talent, once reaching the peak, would have a 1-star king level combat strength, known as a 1-star king. The classification ranged from 1-star to 9-star kings, with 8 and 9-star levels being more mythical, and it was uncertain if anyone had reached them. The Zonghai super base maintained a list of kings ranked 3 stars and above, with the rankings and star level king strengths determined by the War God Tower standings. Anyone who fought in the War God Tower could receive a star level rating and ranking. Those who didn't participate wouldn't be ranked and would lack fame. However, the encyclopedia didn't detail the benefits of these rankings, and Yi Tian was curious about what they entailed. War God Tower, he murmured, intrigued by this so-called tower. According to the encyclopedia, the tower employed virtual reality technology, allowing human consciousness to enter and fight without the risk of death, a seemingly epic-making artifact. It's fascinating. I must try the War God Tower, Yi Tian said excitedly. However, he planned to cultivate for a while to enhance his strength before attempting the tower. After a month of intensive cultivation in the high-level cultivation chamber at home, his physical strength reached 980 elephants, power. With his pseudo mythical level strength talent and the silver level sword technique, his attack power could reach 705,600 elephants, power, 35 times that of an ordinary king at their peak. While his attack power was exceptionally high, his speed and defense were relatively weaker. However, his space talent, a bug-like ability, compensated for many shortcomings. I wonder what star-level king rank I could achieve. Yi Tian pondered with anticipation. Chapter 136, War God Tower. The 3 leaderboards. Chapter 136, War God Tower. The 3 leaderboards. The War God Tower stood proudly in the Zonghai district of the Zonghai super base, marking the central location of the base. Towering a kilometer high, the tower shimmered in gold, radiating special waves that prevented flying within a 10-mile radius. Even king-level individuals could not fly here and had to enter through the tower's main gate. A huge screen outside the tower displayed 3 leaderboards: the King Board, the Saint Board, and the Emperor Board. People always watched these boards, discussing eagerly whenever a new name appeared or someone dropped off the lists. Yi Tian also observed the leaderboards with interest. The King Board's top rankers were mostly disciples of the 3 major powers, the Battle Axe Mercenary Hall, Qin Sect, and Witch God Temple. The Battle Axe Mercenary Hall, while appearing as a loose organization, was actually a serious institution for nurturing disciples and core members. Many names on the board belong to members of the Loose Cultivators Alliance and major family clans, indicating the presence of numerous talents within their ranks. Yi Tian's attention then turned to the Saint Board. Those listed were generally talents with Morning Star level cultivation or higher, including some with Moonlight level talents. He noticed that the Saint Board listed only the top 100. A name on the Saint Board caught his attention: Shui Qianyu, 8th on the Saint Board. He remembered the oath in the Demon Sea Major Base's Shang Formation Tower. Anyone accepting the inheritance had to vow to kill Shui Qianyu within 10 years or face obliteration. Yi Tian mused that the Demon Sea Base lacked anyone capable of fulfilling such a vow against a Saint-level powerhouse, especially one ranked 8th on the Saint Board. Shifting his focus, Yi Tian then looked at the Emperor Board, understanding that those who reached the Emperor level were called Great Emperors, capable of founding top-tier forces. The number of emperors indicated the strength of a force, with the Battle Axe Mercenary Hall having the most and strongest emperors, hence its status as the top force in the Zonghai super base. Only 36 emperors were listed, known as the 36 Emperors of Zonghai, with the last one achieving their status 3 years ago. The top-ranked emperor was the founder of the Battle Axe Mercenary Hall. Emperor level, I will definitely reach it. Yi Tian clenched his fist, full of confidence. Approaching the War God Tower, a virtual figure appeared before him, invisible to others. It seemed each person had their own virtual guide. The figure spoke, I am one of the billions of spirit avatars of the War God Tower. You are not yet registered. Would you like to register to enter in challenge? Yi Tian was surprised at the mention of a spirit avatar, a concept he thought only existed in novels. Now, it seemed to be a reality in this world. However, Yi Tian quickly rationalized the presence of a spirit avatar in this era, which bore little difference from the fantasy worlds of novels. The concept of a spirit avatar was no longer extraordinary, it was just new to him. Alright, I'll register, Yi Tian agreed. He quickly filled out the registration form provided by the spirit avatar. Name, Yi Tian. Race, modern human. Cultivation level, king level. Affiliation, Loose Cultivators Alliance. The registration was simple and straightforward, avoiding any sensitive or secretive information. Yi Tian certainly would not have registered if it required details about his cultivation talent. Suddenly, a light shone on Yi Tian's right wrist, leaving behind a mark. This is the War God mark, the spirit avatar explained. You can communicate with it using your mental power to know your ranking and points. Points? Yi Tian asked curiously. The comprehensive encyclopedia he had read earlier had not mentioned this, leaving it a gap in his knowledge. The spirit avatar patiently explained, points are a unique reward system of the War God Tower. Every king level starts with 0 points. The tower has 33 levels, and you earn points by clearing each level. For example, clearing the first level gives you 1 point, the second level 2 points, and so on, with the number of points doubling for each additional level you clear. These points can be used to comprehend the War God steel, which assists in understanding the essence of swordsmanship, spearmanship, and even deeper mysteries, and helps in breaking through acupoints. Moreover, reaching the 6-star king level brings even more surprises. War God steel, Yi Tian thought excitedly, reminded of the enlightenment steel he had seen in the beast world. The two might be similar in nature. The prospect of accessing something like the War God steel, which he had believed was beyond his reach, thrilled him. I must earn points, he resolved, his excitement palpable. However, he didn't forget his other objective of finding moonlight-level cultivation talents and other powerful talents. Suddenly, he realized that his talent-copying ability couldn't penetrate the War God Tower's mysterious energy field, limiting his range to a mere 3 meters. Never mind, for now, I'll focus on the challenges. When they come out of the tower, I can check their talents one by one, Yi Tian thought. He then prepared to challenge the tower to earn points. Spirit Avatar, I want to challenge the first level of the War God Tower, he declared. Follow me, Yi Tian, the avatar responded, leading him to a room with a helmet-like device. Once inside, the door closed, ensuring no interruptions. Put on the helmet, and your soul will enter the virtual world's first level. There, you will face your opponent. Defeat them to clear the first level and earn 1 point, instructed the spirit avatar. Yi Tian sat down and donned the helmet. Boom, the world around him shifted, and when he next saw light, he found himself on a vast expanse of land, ready to face the challenge of the War God Tower's first level. Chapter 137, Rapid Rise in the King's Ranking. freewebnovel.com. Chapter 137, Rapid Rise in the King's Ranking. Whoosh. A black-clad martial artist appeared in front of Yi Tian. This person had a cold and emotionless face. Copy talent. Yi Tian initially wanted to check the other's talent, but found he couldn't. However, he thought that even if he could, it probably wouldn't reveal much about the talent, as this person was fictitious, a created character. Swoosh. The black-clad martial artist moved, attacking Yi Tian. PFF'd. Yi Tian struck him down effortlessly, concluding the fight in an instant. Too weak, probably equivalent to the weakest 1-star king level. Yi Tian assessed. After passing the first level, Yi Tian's points increased by 1. As for ranking, he had none yet, as only 3-star king levels were eligible to enter the king's leaderboard. His soul returned, and the spirit standing before him asked, Yi Tian, will you continue to the second level? Yes, Yi Tian responded. Boom, Yi Tian's soul once again entered a different realm, the second level of the War God Tower. Similarly, Yi Tian encountered another black-clad martial artist here, much stronger than the previous one in terms of speed, strength, and 25 defense, incomparable to the first level's martial artist. Yet, Yi Tian defeated him with just 2 moves, successfully passing the second level and earning 2 points. Third level. This time, the black-clad martial artist he encountered was not slower than Yi Tian, even faster. Fortunately, Yi Tian's heavenly extreme slash could amplify his attack speed by twice, allowing his attacks to be faster than his opponent's reaction speed. Otherwise, it would have been difficult to land a hit. Yi Tian seized the opportunity well, defeating his opponent in 3 moves. After passing the 3rd level, Yi Tian earned 4 points, making his total point 7. It seemed small, but each point was definitely precious. Outside the War God Tower, the last name on the King's leaderboard appeared as a new entry. ? The King's leaderboard, most intriguing for its top few in the last ranks. The last rank was prominent, while the middle ranks went unnoticed. At this moment, Yi Tian entered the last rank of the King's leaderboard, immediately drawing much attention. Yi Tian, who is this person, a completely unfamiliar name? Do we have a genius named Yi Tian in our Zonghai Super Base? I do know of a Yi Tian, but his talent is mediocre, so it's definitely not him. There are many Yi Tians, but none at the genius level. Who exactly is this Yi Tian, suddenly becoming a 3-star king level powerhouse? Guess how much Yi Tian can rise in rank? I guess he could enter the top 1000. After all, he just passed the 3rd level and hasn't had the chance to try the 4th. Even if he doesn't pass the 4th level, the ranking will be based on how long he lasts, definitely within the top 1000. Hey, maybe he could even get into the top 500. Top 500? That's a joke. Isn't everyone who gets into the top 500 someone who has passed the 4th level, a top genius? Yi Tian probably just luckily gained some opportunity and rose suddenly. How could he possibly jump into the top 500? As everyone was discussing, Yi Tian reached the 4th level. The black-clad martial artist in this level was much faster than Yi Tian. Although Yi Tian had a top-level speed talent amplifying his speed by 20 times, his realm was too low. Having entered the king level not long ago, he was at best comparable to a 3-star king in speed, much slower than this 4-star king level warrior. Of course, Yi Tian had a trump card up his sleeve, his spatial talent. However, he decided not to use it, choosing instead to see if he could defeat the weakest 4-star king level opponent without it. Heavenly Extreme Slash, Heavenly Extreme Slash, Heavenly Extreme Slash. Yi Tian repeatedly executed his silver grade skill, Heavenly Extreme Slash. However, it was challenging to hit the black-clad martial artist, and the occasional hits were mere grazes, barely breaking the opponent's skin. Dodging the opponent's attacks was difficult for Yi Tian. Fortunately, he possessed a pseudo-mystic level defense talent that could negate part of the attack. Furthermore, his pseudo-mystic level bone talent acted as another layer of defense. Additionally, Yi Tian's top-tier healing talent allowed him to recover from injuries repeatedly, making it very hard to kill him. As time ticked by, the outside world assumed that Yi Tian couldn't pass the 4th level, probably getting killed instantly upon entering, which is why he was ranked last on the King's leaderboard. However, no one dared to mock Yi Tian. To be listed on the King's leaderboard meant one was a true combat genius. Talents like Li Yueling and Qin He were comparable only to 1-star king levels, and were still far from 3-star king levels. Becoming a 3-star king level was extremely difficult. It wasn't just about having high attack power. At the very least, one needed to significantly increase their speed or possess strong defensive talents to withstand the black-clad martial artist's attacks and be able to counterattack. If one only had a single offensive talent, it was tough to become a high-star level king. Of course, every top force had treasures that could enhance speed or defensive talents, or there wouldn't be so many 3-star or higher kings. However, even top forces couldn't raise defensive or speed talents too high, as the cost was enormous. In a blink of an eye, 3 hours passed. Yi Tian's clothes were slightly torn, but he had no injuries, all healed by his top-tier healing talent. The black-clad martial artist, however, was severely injured. Because Yi Tian's attack power was much higher, the occasional hit resulted in serious injury. Due to the severe injuries, the black-clad martial artist's speed was affected. Finally, with a whoosh, Yi Tian's heavenly extreme slash decapitated the black-clad martial artist, who then vanished. 4th level cleared. Yi Tian earned 8 points. Outside the War God Tower. Suddenly, someone noticed Yi Tian's name disappear from the last place, causing a stir. Heavens, look, Yi Tian's name is gone. We couldn't see him at the back, he couldn't have fallen, could he? Fell your head, how could someone fall in the War God Tower? He must have advanced. Once you pass the 4th level, your rank jumps significantly. Of course, you can't find him in the back ranks. Someone reminded. Many began searching around the 500th rank and quickly found Yi Tian's name. This ranking spoke volumes. Yi Tian indeed had passed the 4th level, achieving 4-star king level strength. Heavens, how did it take him so long to pass the 4th level? Someone exclaimed in surprise. He must just barely have the strength of a 4-star king level, which is why he fought the black-clad martial artist for so long and luckily killed his opponent in the end. That must be it. In that case, Yi Tian's rank should stop here. That's still very impressive, a 4-star king level. There are only 504 in the entire Zonghai super base. However, before they could finish their conversation, someone was shocked to discover that Yi Tian's name had disappeared again from the 504th position, and even searching down to the 400th rank, they couldn't find Yi Tian. Chapter 138. Ranked 62nd on the King's list, making waves at the super base. Chapter 138. Ranked 62nd on the King's list, making waves at the super base. How did that happen? Many people were greatly puzzled. It had only been a short while since Yi Tian's name disappeared from the list. Could there have been some sort of problem? As for the news of Yi Tian passing the 5th level, they hadn't even considered it. After all, Yi Tian had struggled for so long on the 4th level before he passed. How could he possibly have passed the 5th level so quickly? That just seemed unrealistic. Yi Tian's name has appeared at the 86th rank. Someone exclaimed in shock. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Numerous eyes turned to the 86th position on the King's list, and everyone was stunned. King's list, 86th rank, Yi Tian, Loose Cultivators Alliance 5-star combat power. The words, 5-star combat power, shone brilliantly, and the name Yi Tian was destined to become renowned on the King's list. 5-star combat power was equivalent to weaker Saint level combat power. The difference between Saint level and King level was significant, the gap too vast. When a Grandmaster steps into the King level, their strength doesn't increase much. Many geniuses can easily defeat King level opponents despite being at a lower level. However, the possibility of a King level defeating a Saint level is incredibly slim. Once one enters the Saint level, their body undergoes a transformation into a holy body, increasing their strength and speed tenfold. That's why many talented individuals who could fight across levels found it extremely difficult to contend with newly advanced weak Saint level opponents. However, a King level with 5-star combat power could battle against Saint level opponents. Moreover, once a 5-star King level steps into the Saint level, they are bound to be among the strongest, crushing lower level Saints. Therefore, any King level who reaches 5-star combat power is invariably respected by countless people as a true combat genius. But they were very puzzled. How did Yi Tian pass the 5th level? 1 minute earlier, Yi Tian had reached the 5th level of the War God Tower. A flash of black light, and although Yi Tian dodged in time, one of his arms was still severed. The speed is many times faster than mine. Yi Tian lamented helplessly. If he were to fight an enemy like this, he had no chance of hitting them, let alone defeating them. Besides, even the top healing talent was not invincible. If the damage was too severe, or if his head was completely obliterated, he would be doomed. Of course, in the virtual world, one wouldn't actually die, but failure in the challenge was certain. For Yi Tian, who was very eager for the War God Steel, naturally, he wanted to score more points, so he could spend more time comprehending the steel. As for revealing his strength, there was no need. Even if he passed the 5th level, so what? There were others on the King's list who had passed the 7th level. His little bit of strength would definitely not attract too much attention, at most being recognized as a combat genius. In the next instant, the black-clothed warrior attacked again, but this time Yi Tian activated his spatial talent, teleporting away in time. Teleportation didn't require reaction ability. As soon as the thought occurred, he could instantly leave, and even the black-clothed warrior, whose speed far exceeded Yi Tian's, couldn't attack him. After several teleportations, Yi Tian began to counterattack. Finally, Yi Tian seized the opportunity and killed the black-clothed warrior in one strike, not even needing to use the spatial blade. Passing the 5th level, Yi Tian earned 16 points, bringing his total to 31 points. The 6th level, when Yi Tian challenged the black-clothed warrior here, he was severely injured before he could even start teleporting as soon as the opponent appeared. Subsequently, Yi Tian failed to dodge the attack several times. The black-clothed warrior's speed surpassed Yi Tian's mental reaction. After all, teleportation also needed mental activation. If it exceeded the mental reaction time, one could be attacked before teleporting. Yi Tian's virtual body lasted only a minute in the challenge before being decapitated, dissipating in the virtual world. Upon returning to reality, Yi Tian was shocked to find his soul unharmed. He wondered why, despite being killed in the virtual world, his soul suffered no damage. Could it be that the War God Tower protected my soul, teleporting it away in time? He pondered, growing even more curious about the origins of the War God Tower. Outside the War God Tower, Yi Tian's challenge had concluded, and his final ranking was confirmed. King's List, 62nd rank. Yi Tian, Loose Cultivators Alliance 5-star combat power. 5-star combat powers varied in strength, and rankings were determined based on the duration of combat on the 6th level. Many with 5-star combat power were almost instantly defeated, placing them behind Yi Tian in the rankings. Of course, Yi Tian's healing talent played a significant role, but this was also considered a natural ability and factored into his combat capabilities. As the rankings were confirmed, the news caused a sensation. Yi Tian's name spread rapidly, as reaching the 62nd position on the King's List in his first attempt was exceptionally rare. Many found it hard to believe. Oh my, I initially thought he would be at most the last on the King's List, but he's so powerful, climbing all the way to the 62nd rank. This ranking is extremely high, enough to place him among the top few in any of the 4 major forces. In the Loose Cultivators Alliance, there are only 3 or 4 stronger than him. Who exactly is this person? Is he really just an independent cultivator? Haha, you really think he's just an independent cultivator? Without extraordinary combat talents, how could one achieve 5-star combat power? And just an offensive talent isn't enough. While it might be invincible at lower levels, it's unrealistic for battling higher levels. The flaws are too great. It's almost impossible for someone to naturally possess various combat talents without any flaws. Many enhance their talents using treasures, which requires strong backing. This Yi Tian must have powerful support behind him. Could he be a disciple or secretly nurtured genius of a major figure in the Loose Cultivators Alliance? Haha, who knows, but the name Yi Tian will certainly resonate throughout the Zonghai Super Base. News of Yi Tian being ranked 62nd on the King's List quickly spread, and many soon learned of his name. Some major forces also received information about Yi Tian. At the Loose Cultivators Alliance, several leaders hastily convened a meeting. Yi Tian, whose disciple is he? I don't recognize him. Haven't heard of any old friends taking disciples lately. He might be a genuine genius who joined the Loose Cultivators Alliance by chance. Should we try to recruit him? Gentlemen, let's not forget, the Loose Cultivators Alliance values freedom and non-interference. We must not break this rule, or the alliance will fall apart. You're not seriously considering using the alliance as your personal force, are you? No, it's just that seeing a genius in the Loose Cultivators Alliance is intriguing. Yi Tian passed the 5th level on his first try and might even pass the 6th level. Our alliance only has one genius at that level. Well, since Yi Tian has joined the Independent Alliance, if other forces move against him, we should intervene, but there's no need to contact him directly. Agreed. The meeting concluded, and the leaders of the Independent Alliance dispersed. At the Zonghai Super Base, in a certain tower office, Wang Yan sat in her office, looking at a freshly delivered King's List. Yi Tian, 62nd on the King's List. Wang Yan stared at Yi Tian's name on the list, lost in thought for several seconds. Hi guys, please consider joining my Discord. Chapter 139, Shui Qianyu's Incredible Talents. Chapter 139, Shui Qianyu's Incredible Talents. Is it that kid? Wang Yan was somewhat uncertain, as the difference in their strengths seemed too vast. She remembered Yi Tian, who could only exert a force of 12,000 elephants in his attacks. Such an attack strength wouldn't even qualify as a 1-star king level, whereas on the King's List, Yi Tian was ranked as a 5-star king level warrior. However, upon closer inspection, she confirmed that the Yi Tian on the King's List was indeed the same Yi Tian she had seen before. According to the information, Yi Tian had just arrived at the Zonghai Super Base, appearing very lighthearted, and the timing of his arrival matched the time she knew. Could there really be such a coincidence where the same name and timing of entering Zonghai Super Base matched, but not the person? In reality, the truth was that Yi Tian had concealed his true strength. I underestimated this kid, Wang Yan murmured to herself. Her guess was that the opponent had forged a perfect foundation and was an absolute genius with the power to break limits. He possessed pseudo-mystic level strength talents and had only recently broken through to the king level. It was impossible for him to have grown to such an extent in such a short time, unless... Could it be that this kid's cultivation talent is at least of the moonlight level? In that case, training in a high-level or top-tier training room for a month could significantly increase his physical strength, and his progress would be extremely rapid. Plus, if he has more than just pseudo-mystic level strength talents, it's indeed possible for him to ascend to a 5-star king level warrior. Wang Yan analyzed. Interesting, interesting. Let him grow for a while longer. That opportunity could be given to him, to someone with good karma. Maybe my hope of stepping into the saint level in the future lies with him, she said quietly to herself. War God Tower. Yi Tian didn't leave but instead inquired of the spirit, "Spirit, I want to comprehend the War God stele. How much does it cost?" 1 point per day. The spirit introduced. 1 point per day. Yi Tian calculated. He had 31 points, meaning he could comprehend for 31 days, which was equivalent to a month. A month was not a short time, but what should he use it to comprehend? Pseudo-mystic level defensive talent? Or some other pseudo-mystic level talent? Not worth it. Yi Tian immediately dismissed the idea. Talents like these could be completely replicated using his copy talent ability. If he encountered a warrior with pseudo-mystic level defensive talent, he could easily copy it. There was no need to waste War God Tower points to comprehend the War God stele. It would be a complete waste. He regretted spending so much time in the beast world comprehending pseudo-mystic level defensive talents and gaining a bit of defensive mystique. Now, to think of comprehending it was foolish. I should either create sword techniques or comprehend sword intent. Yi Tian decided. Creating a gold-level sword technique was not easy, and a month was definitely not enough. Besides, gold-level sword techniques could probably be purchased in the Zonghai Super Base, albeit at a higher price. Let's comprehend sword intent then. Yi Tian thought. Sword intent was an essential for cultivating sword techniques, and it was also time-consuming. Yi Tian, who was usually busy practicing the purple blood Chongshe technique, did not have enough time to comprehend sword intent. Spirit, I want to comprehend the War God stele. Yi Tian said to the spirit. Follow me. The spirit led Yi Tian to a room with a formation altar. Yi Tian sensed spatial power from the altar. This is a teleportation array. The spirit introduced. Teleportation array. Yi Tian was surprised. He hadn't expected the War God Tower to have a teleportation array. As far as he knew, the Zonghai Super Base didn't have one either. It seemed to be unique to the War God Tower. Yi Tian stood on the teleportation array, and immediately the spirit activated it. With a flash of light, Yi Tian teleported away and arrived at another array in the next moment. He was in a vast space with no land, no sun, moon, or stars, just faint light illuminating the entire area. In the center of the space was a huge stele, about 70 meters high. Though not as grand as the Enlightenment stele in the beast world, it was still quite extraordinary. The War God stele emitted a unique vibration that filled the entire space, surrounded by small floating stone platforms. Many of these platforms were already occupied by martial artists in deep contemplation of the stele. Are these the geniuses from the king's ranking? No, there must be strong figures from the saint and emperor rankings as well, Yi Tian speculated. Unfortunately, his copy talent was heavily suppressed here, preventing him from viewing their talent status, or else he could have copied a couple of moonlight-level cultivation talents. Swiftly, Yi Tian moved to an unoccupied floating stone platform and sat down cross-legged to begin his comprehension. His arrival went unnoticed. People were constantly coming and going, too engrossed in the War God stele to pay attention to another person joining them. However, Yi Tian soon frowned in his comprehension. The effect is not as good as the Enlightenment stele from the beast world, only about 43% is effective. It seems the War God stele is slightly lower in grade, he thought. Despite this, having some resources was better than none, so he continued his comprehension. After a day of cultivation, Yi Tian left, not because he had given up, but because he planned to use up his copy opportunities first. Otherwise, wasting a month would mean losing 2 chances. Outside the War God Tower, Yi Tian blended into the crowd, waiting. He was hoping to encounter a genius with moonlight-level talent to copy. After 3 days of waiting, many talents emerged, mostly with extraordinary or morning star-level cultivation talents. Moonlight-level talents were incredibly rare in the Zonghai Super Base. Suddenly, a strikingly cold and elegant woman appeared, causing the crowd to exclaim, "It's Saint Shui Qianyu." Ranked 8th on the Saint ranking, Shui Qianyu caught everyone's attention, including Yi Tian's. However, it wasn't her beauty that captivated him, but her talents. Human. Shui Qianyu. Cultivation talent. Moonlight level. Ice talent. Top level. Speed talent. High level. Defense talent. Pseudo-mystic, 4/5. What incredible talents! Yi Tian was astonished. Besides her moonlight level cultivation talent, she possessed a pseudo-mystic level defense talent, a top-level ice talent, and a high-level speed talent, almost flawless. No wonder she was ranked 8th on the Saint ranking. Pseudo-mystic level defense talent, and its 4/5 defense mystique. She must have a perfect foundation, but surely different from how I achieved mine. Perhaps she used some special treasures to forcibly create it. Yi Tian speculated. Without hesitation, he copied Shui Qianyu's moonlight level cultivation talent and her pseudo-mystic level defense talent. Such a good person, he remarked, grateful for the 2 excellent talents she unwittingly provided. Unaware of Yi Tian's silent gratitude, Shui Qianyu left amidst the admiring and respectful gazes of the crowd. Time to go home and integrate these talents, then come back to comprehend the sword intent, Yi Tian thought as he headed home. Chapter 140, Dragon Power. Chapter 140, Dragon Power. Returning home, Yi Tian began to integrate the moonlight level talent and the pseudo-mystic level defense talent he had copied. Soon, drenched in sweat, he completed the integration process. He noticed that his moonlight level cultivation talent remained the same. Advancing it would require copying another moonlight level talent, which he was confident of achieving later. The change was more significant in his defense talent. Initially, his pseudo-mystic level defense talent was opening square bracket ? Defense talent, pseudo-mystic 30%. Now, after integrating Shui Qianyu's talent, it had become opening square bracket ? Defense talent, pseudo-mystic 60%. 60% pseudo-mystic level talent, even stronger than Shui Qianyu's, but unfortunately, it's not 70%, Yi Tian sighed. However, he was still quite satisfied since integration doesn't simply add up talents but involves some loss. Testing the augmented effect of his 60% pseudo-mystic level talent, Yi Tian found it increased his defense by 50 times, a significant jump from the previous 35 times. Haha, my defensive ability has greatly increased. Yi Tian was extremely pleased. After resting for a few hours, he returned to the War God Tower to continue comprehending sword intent with the help of the War God Steel. 30 days passed in the blink of an eye. Opening his eyes, Yi Tian exhaled deeply, his eyes brimming with joy. 70% sword intent. This was the result of a month's comprehension of the War God Steel. Achieving 70% sword intent comprehension meant he was now eligible to cultivate gold-level techniques, a threshold many with martial arts talents couldn't reach, yet he had. Normally, it would have taken him an unknown amount of time to reach this level on his own, but with the War God Steel's aid, he achieved it in just 1 month. I'll find a gold-level technique to cultivate when I have the chance, Yi Tian thought to himself. Having used up all his points, Yi Tian couldn't stay in the War God Tower anymore. Exiting the War God Steel's space, he asked the spirit, apart from completing the 33 levels of the War God Tower challenge, is there any other way to earn points? He was curious because many people seem to use the War God Steel space for comprehension, suggesting there must be another way to earn points besides the challenges. Yes, points can be transferred, the spirit explained. Each person can transfer their points to someone else. You can ask others to transfer points to you. So, points can be bought and sold? Yi Tian asked, intrigued. The spirit shook its head. The War God Tower doesn't deal in points, but whether someone is willing to transfer points to you depends on your abilities. Yi Tian realized that this meant the transaction of points happened privately and was unrelated to the War God Tower. This system allowed disciples of powerful factions to easily obtain points, such as by training a large number of 1-star king-level warriors to challenge the first level of the tower. Even if each person earned only 1 point, the total could be substantial, especially if they had an agreement to give these points to their faction. Of course, trading valuable items for points was also possible, but this required high status and the right items of interest to others. As for someone like Yi Tian, this method was not feasible. This path was effectively closed to him. Is there any other way to earn points? Yi Tian asked again. The last method is setting records. This is the War God Steel's hidden points system. Any martial artist who breaks a certain record of the War God Steel will receive corresponding points, and the amount is quite substantial, the spirit revealed. A hidden points system. Yi Tian was intrigued, sensing an opportunity to earn points from this system. What records are there? He asked curiously. A virtual screen appeared before Yi Tian, displaying various records. King level strongest attack record. King level strongest defense record. King level fastest speed record. King level fastest progress record. Yi Tian randomly clicked on the King level fastest progress record, and saw the details of a record holder. Yi Tian was astounded. Completed the entire King level realm in just 80 days. Is this record real? Is this Wang Zi's record accurate? Did he really achieve this in 80 days? He asked the spirit, skeptical. It's true. However, he didn't cultivate normally. He was forcibly enhanced through special methods by others, exhausting his potential. He hasn't been to the War God Tower in decades, the spirit replied. freewebnovel.com. Yi Tian understood. This record was likely set by top-tier forces, sacrificing a king-level martial artist's potential for points. This didn't necessarily mean cruelty. The person might have agreed to it and possibly received substantial benefits. However, Yi Tian admitted he couldn't break this record. Lin Zan. Yi Tian immediately recognized this person as the founder of the Battle Axe Mercenary Corps, the Battle Axe Emperor, Lin Zan. No wonder he is considered the first emperor of the Zonghai Super Base. Curious, Yi Tian wondered what this unit of 8.2 dragon power represented. What does 8.2 dragon power mean? He asked the spirit. Dragon power is not the strength of an actual dragon but a unit of measurement. Dragons and other intelligent species among mythical beasts use dragon power to describe their strength. Nowadays, beings above the saint level typically use dragon power instead of elephant power. The reason is that elephant power is too low-end and inconvenient for them. The ratio is 1 dragon power equals 1 million elephants of force. The spirit explained. 1 dragon power equals 1 million elephants of force. Does that mean I don't even have 1 dragon power yet? Yi Tian was astonished. He calculated his own physical strength, trying to estimate how much dragon power he would have if he reached the pinnacle of the king level. The result left him utterly shocked.